our Horror Hangout podcast where three bearded film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time. My name is Luke Condor with a Kate, and I'm joined by my regular co-hosts. The more regular co-host than me, Mr.
Mr. Ben Errington.
And a Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. Hello, Luke. Hello, Ben. You're back.
Hello.
All gangs together.
Thank God you guys are back. I was doing a podcast last couple of weeks and neither of you showed up. I'm in the wrong Zoom link.
You're in the wrong Zoom link, and it was a better show, actually. Who do you think you are? Just waltzing back in, like you haven't been here for 2 weeks. Just go, come on in, guys. Well, come on, let's do it.
Come on, I'll let you back on. We won't go off onto mad side tracks like we did last week.
Yeah, I think it might be nice. a world record for segues, not segues. What word am I thinking of?
Tangents.
Tangents. It was a world record for tangents. So maybe this week we. Who cares?
No, it's going to happen again. Let's not kid anyone. That's what you're here for.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what's going on? How did you guys get on this last 2 weeks? Was it all good? Were you okay?
Do you know what? It's been nothing but good vibes. Yeah.
Yeah. Good vibes between a killer ape and then a killer tiger. Obviously, Luke, you went here to chime in. Which would you prefer to be up against, an ape or a tiger?
That tiger was so dumb for a tiger. I don't think it was. I don't think it was all there. I think it was broken. It was broke. Yeah.
It got shot in the head and didn't seem to flinch. So his brain was obviously
wasn't right.
Wrong.
So that particular tiger. So a really unobservant tiger or a hyper intelligent smoking ape.
MDF, whatever they use to board up, you can cough through that stuff. Just kick the door harder.
Maybe that's why
she was trying to kick it rather than trying to pry it the wrong way.
It's like being locked in a house in Japan. Just walk through the walls.
That's why you're never getting invited back to Japan. What's he doing? Who's he think he is? Like Godzilla.
I will say, out of all of them, I'd like to have been locked in a house with Ben Scaife because he's such a lovely guy. I'm kind of sad that I didn't get to speak to him in person because I spoke to him so much in Facebook groups.
We'll have to get him on again.
He's a natural.
He'll be back for Shakma, I'm sure.
You know what? I did think that. I thought he's definitely a natural. Obviously, he's got his own YouTube channel and he's been reacting to horror films on that. But in a podcast environment, he was a natural. Like when you listen back to me and Luke on episode 1, not saying you're bad, Luke, but it's just something about it. We haven't quite found the flow yet. We haven't found the rhythm. But Ben Scaife came straight in.
That was exactly 5 years ago today. This is our 5-year anniversary.
There we go. So today, the 8th of Feb, Horror Hangout turns 5 years old. We've been doing this for half a decade. It doesn't feel like that long at all, but it also feels like maybe even longer in a way, if that's strange.
I wasn't even here at the beginning, guys. It simultaneously feels like forever and no time at all. I listened to the first episode on the day it came out. Dan Butcher had tweeted about it saying, a couple of guys I know got a new horror podcast coming out. Give it a listen if you're so inclined.
Little did you know.
I will, Dan. I will listen. There we go.
It sent you on a path. You crossed swords with us. Horror swords.
That was your sliding doors moment.
Yeah.
If you didn't click on that link, you could have ended up on someone else's podcast.
You'd be What would you be doing right now at this?
You'd be on the Joe Rogan show as the mainstay co-host.
Oh no! I mean, financially, I'd be doing great, I guess, but morally,
questionable.
Questionable. I did see a tweet earlier, which was like, Yoko Ono threatens to have her music added to Spotify unless Joe Rogan is taken off the platform. That did give me a chuckle.
Yeah.
So, so 5 years, very nice. We put out on the socials today that it was 5 years. I don't think I would have remembered, but it was on a Facebook memory where I think last year I posted about it being 4 years, and I'm just going to be that kind of person now. Every single year the podcast gets older, I'll just keep doing it because it's just going to make me think about my own mortality.
When you get your Facebook memories, Ben, are there some that you like obviously accept like this and you forward over? And then there's some things that you choose
Delete.
to like expunge from history when they remind you of it.
100%. Because there was clearly a period of time where I just thought that drinking alcohol was a personality. So I just used to always used to post hungover to fuck, drunk again, lol, just loads of stuff like that, and I just every time I see it.
When your status used to be like Ben is : ... and you typed in just song lyrics for days.
I used to love the song lyrics, but also people who didn't understand the is. So they'd like add another word after the is, which wasn't grammatically correct, didn't make sense. Like, I don't know, Ben has had enough. Ben has had enough. Yeah, that's great.
Replies, inbox me, babe.
Inbox me, babe, and I'll go, nah.
What's
everyone's
wrong?
a snake.
Talk about it?
Everyone's a snake. It's just me and the kids from now on.
Ben is sick and tired of all those backstabbers.
I think I remember once it was like someone has got a new hat. I remember reading that on someone's status years ago. And I laughed about it for a while. Yeah. Luke Gondor has got a new hat.
That's true.
But yeah.
Not wearing
Facebook,
it, but...
the Facebook memories most of the time, from at least the last 5 years or so, is always handy stuff to see. So this was one of them. So yeah, the first episode we did was The Devil's Backbone.
Mm-hmm.
That was when we were doing the Empire top 50 list and working our way through that. That was the first one on there. And yeah, 218 main episodes ever since.
I was going to say it's pronounced 2018. I think that's how you.
Yeah, 2018. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
It's cool.
I guess I've been with you for 5 years. In about just under 6 months. I think it was 2021, 22. I came and joined you on something like that.
It feels like you've always been here with us, Andy. Always.
In spirit. Obviously, I said listen to the first one. I was just talking along to myself at the first one. You're right, Luke. I agree.
We did have a few comments across Instagram and Facebook congratulating us on the milestone. On Patreon as well. Pazuzu, loyal patron Pazuzu. He said it's a fantastic achievement. He's been listening for only a year or so, but he considers he's got his value for money 10 times over, which is good. That's what we like to be, a nice bargain of a podcast. And he says, keep on trucking, free horror amigos. Use it enough. No, horror amigos.
Horror amigos.
And it'll stick. I like it.
That's
it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pazuzu. Yeah. So that's obviously the main piece of horror news that's been going about on all of the horror websites. They've been talking about Horror Hangout. But other horror newsy bits, have you guys seen anything? I got a few bits and bobbies.
I think the thing I've seen will be one of your headlines, Ben. I have faith in you.
I also have faith in you, and I don't know what we're talking about.
Is it? I've got a couple, so hopefully this is the right one. Jordan Peele's Nope teaser trailer will arrive as a Super Bowl spot this Sunday, and there's like a teeny tiny. Do we call it a teaser? A first look teaser trailer, apparently it's called, which is
we've got a countdown to a teaser.
It's an amuse-bouche of a trailer. It's just a tiny little taste, and it's 3 characters looking up at the sky.
Spooky cloud up there. Gotta be careful.
Cloud up there. Something to do with a kite. Is that right on the poster? There's like a kite and something. Could it be aliens? I
don't know. I mean, the name Nope. How are you feeling about that? Are you vibing with that?
I think I'm vibing with it. I quite like it. I think it's
so what was there? Was Get Out, Us, Nope. It sounds like a sentence I would say if I walked into a scary room. Get Out, Us, Nope.
Yeah. Maybe it's like
someone that says that's actually okay for you to say. Get Out, was no, you can stay.
It's a conversation. That's what it is. It's a conversation. So I don't think we've got any details about it at all in terms of plot. It stars Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out, also Stephen Yeun from Walking Dead and Mayhem, Keke Palmer, who's in the Scream TV series, I believe. But yeah, the teaser is essentially all them looking at the sky. I'm thinking aliens. I don't know anything about it. I'm gonna call some sort of alien thing.
I'm gonna say dragons. Because why not? Maybe not dragons. Maybe people that like kind of ride kites around and ninjas on kites.
Kite riders. Yeah.
Kite Rider. I'm gonna go with Nope being like Chud, and it's gonna be like an initialism.
Yeah, NOPE.
Yeah, so
National Operatic Performance Enemies.
yes.
Not the National Operatic Performance Enemies, man. Oh my god, anything but that.
Nasty oversized piss elephants could also be
Whoa.
that.
And they're all looking up at the oversized piss.
Because that's what they're going to look up, because they're so high.
Yeah,
they're massive.
They're fuming.
I
like the title there. I think Nope is something that we kind of associate with modern horror in a way that obviously in old horror films, if somebody used to get into a situation, a silly situation, you'd be like, just walk out of there. Obviously now we've gone full circle. So in modern horror, when people are in those situations, they tend to go nope and walk out, and it gets a laugh. You know, it does get a laugh.
I feel like maybe if I saw it in a movie today, I'd be like, it's a bit old. I don't. It almost feels already a little bit dated. Yeah. Like things move so quickly now. He should have had that movie out like before Get Out for that to work for me.
Yeah, you've done it in the wrong order. It should have been Nope. Us.
What's his next one going to be called then? Do you think? Us, Get Out, Nope, Get In.
Get in there. A footballer's left knee becomes sentient. Get in. Get out. Get off. Might be one. Get off. It's a
shake it all about. That'd do.
Football crazy, chocolate mad. Grab a power forward and play football with the lads.
Yeah, they are the greatest players from the best teams in the land. So, what's to be said?
Yeah.
Do you reckon this is like? Do you reckon he'll keep making horror movies after this? Because this is like a trilogy, not an official trilogy, obviously, but 3 releases that have all been horror. Do you think he'll go? Actually, you know what? I'm stepping away from it.
Spread his wings a little bit after this, I guess. I don't know.
Like the question to ask there: does Jordan Peele like probably being, I would say, one of the most respected people in a genre? Does he like making probably a shit ton of money? Like, if he does, I imagine he'll probably keep his eye in a bit.
He seems like a guy who likes to try lots of things and do very well at them. Like the comedy, he kind of nailed that, dominated that scene, and then went into horror. Next, he's definitely going to run for the governor of California, I think. Pretty sure.
Yeah, that's next. Or he's going to release a folk album.
Oh yeah,
maybe.
It's either of those. It's got to be
one of the others. Yeah. The other piece of news is that the new movie from Alex Garland it's called Men. Yeah. It's called Men. It's coming soon from A24. We all know what to expect from A24. It stars Jessie Buckley, and it follows a young woman who goes on a solo vacation to the English countryside after the death of her ex-husband. That's all we got. That's all you're getting. That's all you deserve.
Interesting. I'd never actually watched Devs, his TV show.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't either. That was always something I wanted to see, but I never ever got around to it. But the poster for this movie Men looks pretty cool. So it's like a silhouette, someone standing in a tunnel, and in the reflection, it kind of looks like a skull.
Nice.
Skull, man.
Nice.
Bloody skull in it. There's a bloody skull in there. And the tagline, "What haunts you will find you." I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
All over that.
Lovely.
So now that looks fun. Were we fans of Annihilation? I remember being lukewarm on it. Ben warm.
I'm Luke hot on it, and I get lukewarmer every time I watch it. I think so. I read the book, and the book's great, but it's completely different. I think you lent it to me potentially. I've got one of you. No, I think you let me Under the Skin. You let me want some kind of book at some point. Yeah. But the film is great, and the soundtrack I love, and I really like.
Soundtrack's good. Yeah.
Deep within my bones, love the bit where her blood goes in the thing, and it gets all digital and synthesizer-y, and you know which bit I mean? It gets like really sci-fi.
I like the bit with when she sees that figure that's kind of mirroring her movements. Is that something different?
That entire scene. As soon as it starts to morph into, I was like, weird, super weird, but super cool.
I definitely would like to watch it again, and I haven't read the book, so I would like to read the book.
I need to watch it again because I liked the film itself. The end lost me a little bit, maybe I'm happy to throw it out there. It was a Netflix watch with distractions. Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention.
What kind of distractions? You had a massive bowl of spaghetti bolognese on your lap.
Yeah, big old bowl of Cheerios. Thinking, can I finish this before it goes soggy?
Get me a towel, and a dog was on the end of the spaghetti every time you took a bite.
Shit, this is all one strand.
Yeah.
Probably less excitingly, just phone and something, and probably, and the end didn't really strike me as much as maybe I would have liked.
I think
but
I
the build up to that was great.
I kind of expected the ending to have some sort of huge revelation. I don't know, and it kind of, for me, just
it doesn't
quite hit the mark. Didn't quite hit the mark. No.
Want it to be really explicit as to whether he's nailing it. I want Oscar Isaac to literally come in and go, "Whoa, I'm an alien."
I think it's the overall experience of the film that but yeah, I don't think the ending quite lands. But
the bear stuff is great. The bear is like grade A, like 100% time.
There's lots of really cool bits, like the bit when they first walk into the what it's called now, the shimmery zone thing, and then they suddenly cuts to black, and then they're waking up and they're like, "What? We've been here for like days, and they have no memory of getting inside." I don't know, all that kind of stuff I find really creepy.
Okay, two more bits of news. I'll fly through these fairly quickly. So Dario Argento, he's released a new movie called Dark Glasses, and it's got a teaser trailer. So obviously the master of Italian horror, master of giallo. His first movie since 2012. Do you know what movie that was?
Opera? No, but it was a Dracula one.
That's the one, yeah. Dracula 3D. I mean,
Dracula 3D.
Three Draculas.
There's probably 3 of them. 3D. That's what we called ourselves. The poster almost looks like it's from a 3D movie for this one anyway. For Dark Glasses, there's somebody in some shades and a shadowy figure. Is he as much of a force as he used to be with all of his classics? I don't know. There's not so much of a buzz around a new movie from him these days, is there? But still, probably check it out. Looks quite fun. I say it looks quite fun. Looks very giallo and looks very bloody from what I can see. A bit of blood.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, mate. And the only other thing is that there's a Goosebumps live action TV series reboot coming to Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
Cool. No, up for that.
Definitely. We'll have to give that a little look and have a talk about that. I still think we should do a chat about one of the old ones. Get the old Ryan Gosling one out.
Yeah.
If we're going to do that, we need to do Are You Afraid of the Dark as well? Find a couple of episodes of each or something.
And see what our favourite one was. Whether we prefer submitting things for the approval of Midnight Society or wanting viewers to beware because in fact you're in
beware.
I think I'm going to lean towards Are You Afraid of the Dark? Just because that was what I used to watch.
I used to quite like that. I think Goosebumps, maybe, I don't know what channel it was on. Maybe it was a Sky thing and I didn't have Sky. I don't know.
I don't think it was a Sky thing, you know. I think it was BBC.
Fox Kids? Was it? Was it Fox Kids?
I honestly can't remember.
I don't know.
I used to have a door knocker that was like, it screamed. It was like a blood-curdling scream, and then it said, "Beware, you're in for a scare." So loud. And I had it on outside of my bedroom door as well. So like literally anyone who walked past, mum, dad, sister, were always used to horrible. So, fuck, Jesus Christ.
Is that why you don't like jump scares now, Ben? Like just
probably
just out of context, someone would shout that you're in for a scare.
The guy in the Amityville Horror doesn't like jump scares either. He hates them.
Absolutely hates them. Never fucking sneak up on me, just if you could.
And in the remake,
do an episode of The Demon Headmaster as well. If you're going to do some old kids horror TV
we could do like a kids horror TV episode. We could do like an episode where we bring our favorite episodes of like horror shows, maybe like X-Files or Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Talk about our favorite episodes.
Yeah, I'm for that.
When it's X-Files, we're all just going to talk about Tombs because everyone had it on VHS.
Tombs.
That was a good episode.
Yeah, everyone's got to cut. Everyone's got to cut. He's a squeezy man.
I always think about the episode with like the green sparkly flies, gnats, just like killer gnats.
And you get them in the light, and they get. That's how you get it. Is that the one?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
those are scary ones. The Fluke Man, Fluke, was that his name?
Oh yeah, the Leechy Man guy.
Leechy Man, anus on his face. Yeah. So that's it.
Triple X Files, that one.
Oh yeah. that is it for horror news. Has anybody seen anything of note this week?
Yes, I watched a few things. I mean, I have had this thing on my list for ages to watch, Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes, which was whoever the guy is who made One Cut for the Dead. He was like promoting this. It's one continuous shot film and made on like a super low budget, and it feels like that in the same way that One Cut for the Dead does. But the central premise is kind of genius, and I don't know how they pulled it off. So basically, a guy owns a cafe and he lives in an apartment upstairs. There's like a computer screen downstairs in the cafe and a computer screen upstairs in his room. He goes upstairs to his room, and him from 2 minutes into the future is downstairs in the other one talking to him from 2 minutes into the past.
Oh, wow.
So it starts out quite simple. Then he goes downstairs and he finds the 2 minutes from his past upstairs now, and he repeats what he's been told to say. And then they bring that screen downstairs and they point them at each other. So I don't know what you call this, but like they become infinite. Like you can see infinitely into the future, into the past. And then they kind of have this amazingly choreographed. So all this is done in one continuous take as well. Amazingly choreographed sequences where they're outside of the screens in like one layer, and then they pop the head in and they're talking to someone from like a far back past layer, like a screen within a screen within a screen within a screen. And then they'll go out and then go off to do more adventures. And then you'll see bits that had passed by the screens earlier from some other layer of the screen act out in real time. And it's amazing. Like the way it all comes together as well is it's very, it's like not like nothing mad happens, but it's just that one concept. They've gone, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to absolutely nail this one concept. And it's really, really good.
I saw a trailer for it, but it looks fantastic. I've been meaning to watch it. It was on, I forget which film festival it was now. It was on the festival at the end of last year, and I wasn't there, so I didn't see it, but I've been wanting to see that. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's if you like that kind of film, that kind of quirky Japanese low budget thing, really good.
I'll get that added to a list, I believe.
When it comes to confusing time travel, I know that people hold up, there's Primer and there's Time Crimes. Have you guys seen both of those?
Yeah. Primer.
I've only seen Primer, I think.
I've had to look at diagrams of Primer to work out what the hell's going on, but it's good. Kind of mind blowing. Time Crimes is a bit of a more simple time looping situation. Have you seen Predestination as well?
No.
Oh, that is really good. I don't even know why it's not bigger than it is, but that's got a really interesting take on the time looping situation.
I'm going to add Predestination to my film list.
A lot of these as well are more solid than Looper. I find Looper's quite unstable. When you think about any of the elements, it doesn't quite add up.
Yeah, when you start breaking it down, it's a bit confused. What guy's fingers start disappearing?
Yeah. It's good to see it. It looks cool and it's quite nice to watch, but it's not very robust on the time travel side.
Yeah.
Mostly just for the couple of shots they get where they try to explain Jason Gordon-Levitt turning into Bruce Willis, who has thin hair one day, and then the next I'm just Bruce Willis now.
Bruce Willis, I think, got nominated. He had his own category in the Razzies, didn't he? There's 8 Bruce Willis movies for worst Bruce Willis movie. Do you reckon he'll win?
No.
He'll be runner-up.
He'll be runner-up. Oh, for fuck's sake. Anything else, Luke, you seen this week?
Yeah, I watched Archive 81, which is the Netflix thing based on a podcast. I was a little bit miffed because there's one central idea that is quite similar to something I'm working on as well, but it goes in a completely different direction, so I'm not bothered anymore. But the first 4 episodes of Archive 81, when it sets up the mystery, are some of the best TV I've seen in a long time. And then I was I don't quite enjoy some of the answers, and I feel like they give us too many answers, if anything. The answer is a bit simple. But the overall setup, there's one scene, because I've been getting up super early in the morning and just watching TV and films as the sun's rising. And then there's one scene I kind of drifted off and I woke up and it's just this woman screaming. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it's a spiritual medium woman, and it's quite a horrific scene. That's all I'm saying. But it was bonkers. But yeah, there's some elements in those first 4 episodes that are really creepy. They really get under your skin.
Oh, I'm going to watch it eventually. I'm going to watch it and be like, oh.
It's a fiction podcast.
Podcast. Yeah, I thought that was.
Yeah, that they've turned into a pretty solid, large budget TV show.
If there's one thing I think we should do, there should be more of in the marketplace, actually, guys. I think that sort of short form horror narrative podcasts, there should be more of those being made into high budget TV things. I think paying the writing team behind them most handsomely is probably the secret to success as well.
Yeah. I don't know if you're aware, Andy, but you as well, we do run one of those. So
we do. Yeah. So actually, we probably, if anyone was looking for anyone to adapt, we'd be able to point them in the right direction as well. So yeah,
that's
brilliant. I'd love to see more of those.
It is good. Archive 81 shows us that workflow, let's say, from podcasts to TV show works excellently. So yeah, it's good. It's a good sign.
So not only is it great content, but efficient to produce as well.
Efficient to produce. Yeah, you don't have to do any of the audio. It's already done. You just have to add the images on top.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. It's easy.
Pay your screenwriters half because you've got the words. Just gotta write some notes for what pictures you want.
Just get some royalty-free Google videos, pexels.com. Shutterstock.
Everyone loves watching those.
Yeah.
Anything else? Is that it, pretty much?
I'll just say one more thing. I finished reading after like 3 years. I've been grabbing volumes of the Sandman comics, and I've finally finished them all. And it is, and people say it's like the best comic series ever made. I wouldn't go that far, but I think it does have, at times it is brilliant. It is really brilliant. Other times it's not quite as brilliant. But that's been really fun for the past, I think it must be like 3 years. I've just picked up a volume every couple of months and enjoyed the experience.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I've done the first couple, I think, and then I just haven't got any more because we've been moving for a few years and so on. And I've got bookshelves again. I might get back on it.
I could lend you some.
Oh, nice.
When's the Netflix show of that out? This year?
I think, did you see the trailer for
it? Yeah. Is it just, there's not much going on in the trailer, is there?
It's just doing the ritual to catch him in,
to get a Sandman.
In the nud. We got him in the nud. In this, like, it looks alright. The thing is, I feel like the Sandman looks really weird. Like in the comics, he's very long. It looks like Neil Gaiman is like melted a little bit, like he's been left in the
very
front window of his shop.
Yeah, left in the window. Hot day.
All faded and sun bleached.
Yeah, it's be weird to see how they kind of pull that off.
Listen to a bit of the full cast audio drama that came onto Audible not long ago. Well, I say not long ago, a year ago.
Was it good?
Yeah, it's all right. I haven't listened to all of it because the problem with audiobooks sometimes is that you put them on at bedtime, fall asleep, don't you?
Yeah.
And especially it's about the Sandman. He's all about that. It's on brand.
Yeah.
He's insistent.
So I do need to go back and finish it. Possibly listening while I'm operating heavy machinery, so I can't possibly fall asleep.
He's not the king of dreams. He's a very naughty boy. So that's. I mean, in front of other things I forgot. How about you guys?
The only thing I've really seen this week, I've been playing a lot of games. I've been playing Days Gone, returning to Days Gone, and I've been playing. I started playing Resident Evil Code Veronica X because it celebrated its 22nd anniversary recently. So I know it's crazy, and I think it's the one
turn to dust and just fade away.
Yeah, it's the one that always gave me the most trouble. So I've gone back to try and like wholeheartedly beat it. I've definitely finished it, but I want to go and finish it again because I think it maybe only once. And then apart from that, I've started watching the Pam and Tommy TV show.
Any good?
Disney. It's on Disney Plus. It's really good. Yeah, like it's really fun and interesting. Really 90s, and it's not just about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee. There's like this story. There's a character played by Seth Rogen who gets his hands on the famous sex tape and how he goes. It's got loads of stuff about technology and like the internet as well, and like the and how he got it online and what happened after that. It's only been 3 episodes so far, but I'm really enjoying it. And Sebastian Stan is having the time of his life. You could just see it. He's just absolutely loving it.
That's cool.
And there's a prosthetic penis as well. I'm pretty sure it's prosthetic.
Excellent.
Because
on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I know.
Well, they've got the new tagline, haven't they? Now,
Prosthetic
haven't they? It's like films that you, things that you expect, Mickey Mouse,
and big
things that you don't. Old choppers, people flopping the chop.
big old choppers, chopsters. Yeah, exactly. So there we go. I definitely recommend it. It's well, the performances are great and it's just fun. And if you like 90s, if you like hearing the dial-up tone of an old modem, you get
that. For that alone,
the favorite
exactly.
Song.
As soon as that came up, and I was like, oh yeah.
Have you been watching the Book of Boba Fett? Searching for Bobby Fischer.
I'm a bit behind on Boba Fett. I've only seen 3, and I think there's 6 out. I've seen all of the reveals of what characters are in it. So yeah,
it gets good, like episode 5, I think. When the other characters come into it, it seems to like really pick up. I just think Boba Fett isn't that interesting in this. I don't know, in this series, like he's not that interesting to watch, whereas all the other characters who are supposed to be the side characters are just way more alluring, way more interesting.
That's it though. They've got the time to build them up, haven't they? And they've had all of this years and years of additional material to now pick the very best things out of to introduce in this really high budget way. I'm still got an entire season of Mandalorian to watch before I get to it, but I will. Apparently it looks really good.
Yeah, it feels like, sure, there's a lot of fan service, but I don't know, I feel like it's like, especially the episodes made by Bryce Dallas Howard. I haven't seen the Boba Fett episode that she made yet, but I've heard amazing things, and people are saying give Bryce Dallas Howard a Star Wars movie to make. It seems like it's really giving filmmakers a chance, like imagine that, like a chance to make an episode set in the Star Wars universe, and it feels like they've got a lot of freedom for who they can include. I mean, I'm sure Disney are like, right, you can't have Darth Vader for this one. Wait, he's not alive.
I don't know. I'm not sure they've got any credibility to be choiceful now, ever since the fact that the Emperor came back to life on a Fortnite broadcast.
But
where's the thing in this is like going to like historic cities like Bath, and then you've got like a big neon pink McDonald's sign open there or something like that. It's like, oh great.
I think the point I was trying to make is that the fact that those films were so disappointing, and the fact that this TV feels like, I don't know, something, I don't know, it feels like it's recaptured the magic in a way, the magic that perhaps those films wanted to capture.
Oh yeah,
and considering we recently talked about legacy characters in sequels of stuff, this obviously shows how it can be used in a way that's mindful. Obviously they've introduced new characters like Mando and the little dude, but yeah, seems to be a nice balance.
Yeah,
go on, Luke. Sorry,
I can't remember what I was going to say. The Bryce Dallas Howard episode.
Is that episode 4, the Bryce Dallas Howard episode?
I think it is. But it's just dead inventive. Like it feels like Star Wars. I mean, there's a couple of choices in this season. I mean, we talked about the mods. There's like mods in it.
I've seen the mods episode. Yeah,
don't feel like Star Wars. There's a couple of things like that, and I think Star Wars isn't supposed to be reflective of our world. It's always been its own unique kind of almost Western, almost Eastern kind of mix, but kind of sci-fi. But it's never supposed to be kind of mods and bikes. So there's an element of that. But the Bryce Dallas Howard episode, there's like just like every kind of new scene she introduces and every kind of new setting. I'm like, that's really well done, like really thoughtful. And
I need to hurry up
because
and see this.
Who has got a Star Wars movie? Taika Waititi. He's making one, right? Isn't he making one? Whether it's
probably making everything.
Yeah. He's making bloody everything. I think he is. So I'm interested to know what they're going to do after this show, because what other shows are we going to get? Do we know?
I think, well, Obi-Wan is.
Oh yeah,
Oh
Obi-Wan.
yeah, Obi-Wan.
Right.
That's it. That's what I was thinking of.
So it's him saying hello there, having a jolly time in the desert.
Hello there.
I think we'll get, who else do I reckon we get? I know, and I haven't read all of the stuff, but I know that Thrawn is really popular. I feel like that'll turn up and we'll get a Thrawn thing.
There's got to be. I mean, they're introducing so many characters from Clone Wars and stuff. They're gonna get around to somebody like that at some point soon. I don't think anybody's off the table.
We're getting a what's his name from Rogue One, aren't we? What's his name? Andor.
Oh yeah,
we're getting a him series where he makes choices of having two things or choosing between the two things, and or.
Yeah. Wonderful. I like it. What about Rosario Dawson? What's her character's name?
Ahsoka. She's getting a series.
Super Ahsoka, I call her.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Luke.
I would like
steady on, not to her face.
The Dexter Jetster Mysteries. That's the man with the four arms that runs the cafe in episode 2. I'd like to see him solving murders like Jessica Fletcher.
Yeah. What about Greedo going around getting shot?
People first.
Young Greedo that goes between young Greedo that goes between that bit in episode 1 where his friend's Anakin Skywalker and he goes like, "Oh Greedo, your green face and lack of shooting first is going to get you in trouble.
You never shoot first, do you, Greedo?"
Yeah, aren't they bringing back? I guess we don't want to talk about Star Wars too much longer, but aren't they bringing back Hayden?
Yeah,
Hayden Skywalker. Can't remember his surname.
That is for Obi-Wan, though, isn't it?
Oh, okay, yeah. I think that'd be cool. That'd be interesting to see how that all works.
I just enjoy him missing Obi-Wan so many times because he definitely hasn't seen him since between those movies. So it'll be him just turning up just after Obi-Wan's gone and going,
"Yeah,
that's how he breathes."
He has no idea that he's going to have his legs off at some point. Okay. So that's pretty much it for me. Andy, did you have anything?
Yeah, a couple. I watched the second one of No One Sleeps in the Woods Tonight, so called No One Sleeps in the Woods Tonight 2.
Nice.
Really fun, really interesting. It goes in a completely different direction from the first. It is good to watch them as a double bill. The director, whose name is Bartek Kowalski, and the cast, I think you're going to see more interesting things from this group of people and this director. On the face of it, outwardly a slasher, but for I would say probably what is a modest budget, they do some interesting things in this, and some of it's quite funny.
Cool. Oh, what's that? I love the look of the slasher guy.
Big pimply men.
Yeah. It looks dead like character.
Yeah. It's good. There's a lot to enjoy. And
pimply men.
I also
how many of them are there? Sorry, Andy.
There's 2 pimply men.
How many movies? Sorry, is it 2?
There are 2. Yeah, there are 2 movies.
2 pimply men.
2 pimply men, 2 movies. And it's set around just as a nice setup for the very beginning. You get rid of it's set in the modern era, but it's set around a summer camp, and it's kids that have been sent there because they're addicted to technology. One of the kids has got things like, "Oh, what happened?" Like, so I've been sent to this camp because my parents don't believe in me playing video games. And I had got into the World Championships in Korea where the prize money is like $1 million, but they think I'm not socializing my friends at school, so they have sent me to technology addiction camp. And that's why no one's got a phone and they're just off in the middle of nowhere. And like I think I said the other week, the dubbing is completely acceptable. So if you're in a situation where you can't watch it in original language and have the subtitles, the dubbing is fine.
Oh yeah. What did you say it was?
It's
Polish. Norwegian. Where does that come from?
Yeah, it's really good. Like it's worth checking those out. There's some interesting ideas there, and I think we'll see more from these guys. And then I also watched Hypnotic with Kate Siegel. It's like I saw it advertised to me on Netflix and thought, all right then, I'll give that a go. Like Kate Siegel has been in some great horror things. I would say more in the thriller space than outright horror. Everyone in it is Kate Siegel, and a couple of other characters in it are perfectly good. maybe not as interesting as the premise and the trailers live out. You see this this is a nice Sunday night thriller on your telly that you'd watch, maybe. Nothing that's going to break the world apart, but everyone in it is perfectly capable, doing a good job. And that's it. Apart from, of course, this week's double. Just one really, but one and a bit.
Yeah. So we are going to cover two films, but we are going to mainly speak about the original movie, and then we'll talk about the remake just a bit, just to talk about if we thought it was a better interpretation of the story. But this week's movie is the Amityville Horror, which is a 1979 American supernatural horror film directed by Stuart Rosenberg, starring James Brolin, Margot Kidder, as a young couple who purchase a home haunted by supernatural forces who just want you to get out. So the film is based on the 1977 book of the same name, but it's also based on the alleged experience of the Lutz family, who bought a home in Amityville, New York, where a mass murder was committed the year before. When was it committed? Last week. Get us moved in. Clean the blood off the wall. Get us moved in.
You say that though, Ben, like, you talk about things happening quickly. So this film came out in 1979, you said, right? You think the murders, so the real like Amityville it's public domain, which is why the franchise and the movies are all over the place, because anyone can pretty much have a crack at making them. And it's because it's based upon some real murders that happened, and the events of the film are based on something that happened that people moved in after these murders to the thingy. After these murders happened in the house, someone else moved in there and he had a shit one, and then they made the film out of it. The book, this film that came out in 1979 is based on a book that came out in 1977, and the murders happened in like 1974. So that is like someone having a fairly...
What's that? Murders? I've got half a book written here. I've got a fast track to the studio.
This has been rattled out in comparison.
Wow. So
the book is this story, right? It's not like a true crime look at the guy who got possessed and killed his family. It's a fictional take on the family that moved in afterwards.
I'd have to look. I assumed it's a dramatized, but it's what we see in the film pretty much. It's a dramatized version of these people's story. To write about the actual murders, that'd be insensitive 5 years after they happened.
Wow, true crime documentaries these days.
I know obviously it was a real thing that happened, but it almost seems like the most interesting story is like the guy who actually killed his family. Like that's a more compelling story in a way.
Well, the Warrens have had that since, haven't they? Because it's the start of The Conjuring 2, right?
Oh, okay.
Conjuring 3, right? Number 2 is the London one.
Number 2 is the London one. I think it's the vision she has before. It's what she's doing. She's in the middle of doing an Amityville when they get the call about London. She goes, hang on, I'll be right there.
Many Amityvilles. It's almost like
if someone went, I got 2 stories for you, right? I got one story where a man goes crazy, kills 6 members of his family. Insane, right? Oh yeah, that sounds interesting. I got another story for you. Man moves into the house, goes a bit crazy, but don't kill anyone.
It doesn't do anything. Then they leave.
Right, make a film of that. Make a film of that. Well, no, I'll make a film about the 6 murders, right? Nah, that should just be like
that's boring. Everyone's done that, mate.
Everyone's done the 6 murders. What about a man who goes a bit mad, but
what
then
about
snaps
no
out
murders? Oh, no murders. You madman.
What happens at the end? What's the climax? Oh, he gets choked for a bit, and then his dog saves him. Spoilers for this movie, by the way.
His dog thinks he's like a lump of something coming out of it.
His dog briefly thinks he's a baddie, and then he goes, "Oh, mate,
actually, I'm
Harry, I'm a goodie," and he goes, "Oh, I'm going to help you then." Sauce.
Yeah. He's like, "I'm biting you, but then I'm turning it into a nice help."
Yeah. The dog breaks out. "Oh no, I was so embarrassing. I've bitten him. I pretend I'm trying to cut because I ain't got a hand. No, I'm not biting. I'm pulling you out."
Hello. So this movie is like, I guess it's one of those films. So last week I said I've seen the original and I haven't seen the remake. Now, after watching them both, I'm almost like, I don't know if I've seen either of them. I don't remember anything.
I'm not sure I'd seen
either of them at all.
And
I think in the remake with Ryan Reynolds having his top off, I think my memory of his abs was from Blade Trinity, So I was like, I've seen him with his shirt off before, but I don't think he's in this film, and I was all confused.
What abs in this remake? First point of difference, like the Amityville Thirst Trap is the second one, and it's one for everyone. Doesn't matter what you're into, because there's Ryan Reynolds has got his tops off. The second later, the little boy's like, "Oh, I don't want no babysitter," and then Midriff for Days comes walking in there in to do some babysitting, and the kid's like, "Cool."
To be fair, though, if we're talking about
makes a Michael Bay movie look subtle.
If we're talking about Ryan Reynolds' abs, James Brolin in Amityville Horror 1979, I mean, he's definitely going to be somebody's type. He's like a rugged sort of like.
At the start, by the end, he turns into like a overworked crunch period game developer.
Yeah, his eyes. He's got like panda eyes. When's the last time you slept a wink? 6 months ago.
Is he?
Because it happens in days. He moves in as lovely, friendly Bob Ross, and then about midway through the film, which is only about a week in living in the house, he is like Christian Bale on the set of Terminator Salvation. You make the slightest fit, and he's like, "There's a light in my eye line. You fucking idiot! You're a professional. Good for you."
Still doing an American accent.
Is he Thanos' dad?
Thanos' dad, yeah.
Josh Brolin's dad. Interesting. Yeah,
shit.
you can kind of tell.
Okay. Yeah,
they've got a certain quality to them.
I didn't know that his mom is
Thanos'
mom's Barbara
Streisand.
Streisand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't know that until today.
Jesus.
Yeah, saw that.
I did not know that. Bloody hell, Thanos.
So this film, in terms of reviews, does not get scored nicely. It's got 30% on Rotten Tomatoes critic score. Dull and disappointing. The best that can be said for the Amityville Horror is that it set a low bar for its many sequels and remakes. 30%, that seems pretty low. 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb and 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. A couple of choice reviews here. One from Patrick Willems. By the way, do you guys watch his YouTube channel? Patrick Willems. He's
I don't know.
there's lots of film reviews, quite good, quite quirky. So he says, so wait, does this evil house only attract inhabitants who look like James Brolin? Does it use its evil powers to make every man who moves there look like James Brolin? 2 stars.
It's a good question.
Also, Andy pointed out that they look a lot like the killer, the actual real killer.
The in real life killer. They look a lot like him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like they've cast him based on it. What do you look like? Oh, no, not good enough.
Yeah. Someone else here, Issa put, OMG, this was so incredibly boring. I swear it felt 11 years long, half a star. And I kind of agree.
Really specific time.
Yeah.
Did it feel 10 years long? Oh, no.
Much longer than
12
that.
too many.
Yeah.
God, I'm
11
not crazy.
just right. I'm pretty sure there's a fairy tale about that, about the length of this film. Yeah, James Brolin, Thanos' dad, Margot Kidder as well, who Black Christmas and Superman.
Superman's girlfriend, yeah.
Lois Lane herself. That's right.
Yeah.
She reminded me, I kept thinking it was the actress from Raiders of the Lost Ark. They are very similar. What's her name? They're like...
as soon as you said that, I don't think it married him, but that's the character's name.
Yeah. Indies.
It's like short round.
Yeah. So have you guys seen this before?
I think I've seen both before, or I've seen one of them. I've definitely seen the remake before, and maybe because I've seen that as I was watching this one, because the quote's so similar, I'm like, I've definitely seen that one before. But I recognise both of them quite well, and I remember I have to say, I hadn't seen the remake, but recently, but I remember quite liking it. I remember thinking it was really good. But then again, I could have been a dumb, young, early 20s man with hair.
Full of man with hair. Young, dumb, and full of enjoyment for the Amityville Horror remake. The Amityville Horror remake is a very shiny, jump scare heavy, but a very modern horror film. And I think from reading about it, it seems like it's one of the first films around about that time that's started before like the influx of Conjurings and Annabelles and James Wanias.
Did not have a what's that company called that make 13 Ghosts and House on Haunted Hill?
Rock? No. What's it called?
Not Castle Rock, is it? No.
No.
Dark Castle.
Does it not have a Dark Castle vibe to it? From
It
memory,
definitely does. There's definitely a lot of
Okay.
shaky faces.
Yeah. You got shaky faces for days in.
To be fair,
No.
there are a lot of jump scares, but there are a few effective ones. And I think in terms of like atmosphere and in terms of genuinely being quite scary, the remake is better because I think the original, there's a lot of like, it tries to build a bit of an atmosphere, but it gets bogged down in other details. And in terms of like actual scary, haunting / possession stuff, I mean, it's pretty much nothing. The door opens, you hear a voice. Oh, this house puts the willies up me.
The house is livid, but like in the original, the house, you could argue, just has a bit of a problem with organized religion, particularly the Catholic Church. Doesn't like any of them, makes that nun vom. But
yeah, it doesn't kill anyone, does it? The house in this one, like it doesn't.
It does its best. Does its best to do it, but doesn't try too hard. It makes that priest poorly.
Yeah.
Is that its goal to kill anyone though? Is the house's goal to possess the daddy and make the daddy do the murders?
I don't think it's even like they never thought about it in the original. They don't seem to. Whereas the remake, that's definitely the plan, right? Make Ryan Reynolds become the next murderer.
Yeah, it's like, oh, kill your family. It's trying to trick them. It goes, oh, see your family. Yeah, demons. So
what I do like about the remake is that when he is possessed, his eyes are like really black, like Ryan Reynolds, which I think is quite cool. There's something about it where you're like, oh no, he's all right now. He's not possessed at the moment. You can see the whites of his eyes. His eyes are black. Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And I think there's genuinely a lot of tension. You feel scared for the kids. You feel scared for his partner. Is it Melissa George?
It's Melissa George, yeah, from
Triangle.
Home and Away.
You feel generally worried about her, whereas I think in the original, you're a bit like Bob Ross, aka James Brolin, is just a bit of a bad-tempered, and he got a bad belly.
He loses cash.
Yeah,
he loses cash.
Not even his own cash. His brother-in-law loses his cash, and he forgets to sign the checks, and he punches his mate that time.
Yeah.
So there's more ancillary characters in this one that haven't fallen out with.
So why do we think this film has like built such a huge franchise? Is it because of the no copyright thing?
Yeah, possibly like the real life nature of it. Like it's based on something that happened. So in that
Margot
sense,
Kidder was pretty big, right? As well, I don't know when this
Margot
came out
Kidder
around.
was a huge star. Would have been like the late 70s, early 80s. So pre-Superman, this would have been, I guess, but after Black Christmas. So yeah, she'd have been a big star. Obviously, Brolin's it's family business now, so they obviously did all right out of this as well. I feel like Amityville Horror, it might be one of those films that just played off the strength of a reputation, maybe a little bit more than the film itself. Like before I saw this, I was like, oh, it's based on a real thing. I think we talked about it last week, Ben. Like, I knew Amityville Horror from The Simpsons, and I imagine a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Also, I feel it's got that cultural capital from that, and maybe more so than people who've actually seen the film.
I think that house, the look of the house as well, that like has eyes. For some reason, the house has eyes.
That's the problem with the architects. They built it with angry eyes. Now, of course, it's going to be bad. Like all Peugeot 206s have got angry eyes as well. I assume they're evil cars.
Yeah.
I think it was off the back of The Exorcist. It was after The Omen as well. So I think it was trying to sort of tap into that sort of like evil / possession.
I was
stuff.
reading, that book Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix. I'm pretty sure in that he was talking about how there was a boom of horror movies that were kind of about from the idea if you've bought a house and the underlying subconscious fear of making the wrong purchase was like coming out in horror movies. So it was like Burnt Offerings. What's this Steven Spielberg, Toby Hooper one?
Poltergeist.
These movies where you've kind of staked a claim and it turns out you've made a really bad financial decision. That's kind of subconsciously coming out in these horror movies.
Yeah, and that's a real horror, right? Like buying a house and then it turns that you eliminate it because there's.
So
I mean, in real life, it could be that the boiler's gone, but here, it's
on some sort of
possessed
horror ritual ground or graveyard or something like that.
And they lean more explicitly into that in the remake as well, where it turns out there was a bad bloke that has like, that has like a suffering dungeon underneath the house, underneath the boathouse, and he was killing.
Yeah.
I would say the people portrayed in film, at very least, to have the most vengeful spirits of all. He's been killing those Native Americans on there, and really getting the place extra haunted.
When I watched the that Woodlands Dark documentary about folk horror, there were a few people saying that like how Native American burial grounds are used to sort of create fear, based on things. But then there was also some form of expert who's basically saying that Native American burial grounds aren't even really a thing. They explained how Native Americans actually buried their dead, and it wasn't in any way. Is that to do with?
Is that again like you're almost leaning into maybe a slight culture of like guilt and a lack of understanding on there as well, to say, well, your average American today, Americans write in and let us know if you do hear about this. Like, it's part of the history is, of course, that there were people on that land before. Settlers came over hundreds of years ago, and in no short order, the original people who lived on those lands were, massively affected, screwed over, some would say. And is there that feeling of cultural guilt that a lot of those people are gone, and therefore there's that inbuilt fear that this action that ancestors took has left these vengeful, metaphorical or otherwise, ghosts of the past that could get you in the modern day?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a cliche that kind of has lasted through decades. It's something that is prevalent in. I'm pretty sure in Poltergeist it's Native American burial grounds, right?
Yeah, some sort of burial ground.
Because in Poltergeist 2, there's a Native American dude who's like, he's definitely not happy with the fact that these vengeful spirits are knocking about. So it's definitely a cliche. And when I do hear it, I mean, with a film like it from 1979, you're a bit like, oh, okay. But like things like Pet Sematary, I've kind of done it.
When it's in a 2005 remake, not so good.
Yeah, it's just a bit like, okay, I understand like what that means, but at the same time, I don't think it's got the desired impact it has that perhaps it did decades ago as it does now.
Now it strikes you as it strikes you as a cliche, right? And again, I think a lot of that is down to parody, like Simpsons parodies, and you didn't tell me this house was built. No, that's not my recollection.
Right, we're burying this. We're making some houses. Where should we put? There's this plot over here, just a normal plot. Or we got this plot where there was a Native American burial ground. Get it on there right now.
Isn't there a policy we should be building on brownfield sites? I have to clean up that land. That used to be a Tesco Express. The trolleys.
Native American burial ground. There's vengeful spirits everywhere. Let the bloody tenants deal with them.
Landlords, am I right?
Landlords.
I mean, away from the negatives of cultural stereotypes, don't you love the music this begins with?
Yeah, it's got the it's like creepy young girl choir singing. They also keep doing that. Jesus. I only know that because it's in the Book of Mormon, but that plays quite a lot.
Jesus.
Yeah, I quite like that little jingle. It reminds me of Little Nightmares 2. They have that kind of sound playing throughout it.
Children singing. That little, children sing like in a sharp key, a spooky song. Usually, but on the face of it, Jesus thinking you're really nice. That's a nice thing. Little kids singing in a horror film, though. Horrid.
Yeah.
So, in terms of the plot, obviously, this family move into a house in Amityville. There is like a prelude where we see somebody murdering their family. I am gonna get mixed up with the remake now. So
I've got notes. Don't worry, Ben. So we have the murders taking place, and maybe this is how the film tries to get away from. And again, spoilers. There being no murders or actual death for the duration of the film, because 5 kids get shot to death in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, and it looks like the shotgun is doing the killing more than the person. Like the camera is so focused in on the shotgun, it's almost like the shotgun is the character.
It's made by the NRA are loving it. Like, get a close up on that.
Look how effective it is. It's dead good at blowing people away. And as we learned from the Warrens investigation years later, it's that dickhead Valak.
Yeah.
It's all up in it.
Had to be Valak, didn't it?
Absolute prick Valak.
Ronald DeFeo Jr. is his name.
He's the one who done the.
Yeah, I guess he'd be DeFeo Senior now. I don't know what age does that change to
when his dad dies. Maybe that's why he did it.
That's what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Say hello to June. Say hello to Senior.
Now I'm OG. I guess it gets to be like the Highlander rules. If there aren't 2, there's no senior or junior needed. There can be only 1.
So, so the family setup is that George and Kathy Lutz, they're a young married couple, but Kathy's got 3 kids from a previous marriage. George is the new man about town. And
George is up in there.
Kathy's Catholic. That's why your name's
yeah, short for Catholic, I think. Yeah,
short for Catholic. and George is like,
her maiden name is Lick.
George is like, I ain't fucking interested. My religion is wearing flannel shirts and some lovely thermal undergarments.
Yeah. He's a surveyor. I think he owns a surveillance business, right?
Yeah.
So they're coming and looking at this house, and I've said some unkind things about estate agents in my time. Sometimes when you look around, a house, they can be a real pain in the ass. But these ones, straight up, they talk about the murders. Yeah, there was a murders here.
I thought that. She did say it's a fixer-upper. I wonder if by the end of the day, when like the walls are bleeding, she's like, I did say it was a fixer-upper.
Yeah.
You've got to bleeding again, are they?
You've got to take some, this is just estate agent language. Like, quaint, small, fixer-upper, bleeding walls.
Possessed.
Yeah. I got to tell you, though, lovely space.
I don't know. I don't know. Is it lovely? I mean, it's those evil eyes. I mean, are they evil? They're kind of very cartoonish. Like they look like those eyes.
They're a bit cross-eyed, aren't they? And a bit like, no. I'm an evil house.
That's how we trick you then, because it's like, he's quite jolly.
It's fine. That house is a right laugh. Let's get in there.
It's like
have a great time.
Yeah. Good space though. Nice. You got an outdoor boathouse, lots of room for activities.
As they're walking
around, right on the water.
As they're walking around, it keeps cutting, like, I don't really call it smash cutting to shut the shotgun kills. Even like mid word. Hell, and this is the bathroom.
This is the bang, 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 like dead kids.
Yeah.
I get a funny vibe about this place. Are you?
I mean, it cuts to them and they're like, this is amazing. I love this place. I love the vibe.
Yeah.
Love the smell.
And this is a line we get in both of the movies as well, where in both cases they go, houses aren't like, don't have memories and don't have evil in them. It's just people. So actually, it's all right to buy a murder house, especially at this low price. I know it's 1979 prices.
$8,000, I think. And I think they even say this should be more like 110,000, but it's 8,000. I think my granddad paid like £3,000 for his house in like 1950, something or other. Yeah, and he's got his giant bucket of water.
Yeah.
So they're walking around. It looks very, very nice. Some of the bits of the stairs are falling apart, and he's like, I'll sort that out.
Oh, the little sconce comes off, and he's like, $6,000.
Yeah. And then they move in with the kids. I think all seems okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're moving in.
So don't they get... Obviously, they find out about the murder, and they seem like, well, houses don't kill people.
Rappers do.
Rappers do, yeah.
Yeah.
Shotguns do. That lovely, sexy shotgun did it.
So they're getting in there. They're unpacking. Margot Kidder is Kathy Lick is putting down some wax paper on the shelves in the kitchen.
Kathy Lick.
So you don't get rings where you've left your jars. And George has got Chekhov's Jesus. He said, "Where do you want to put this massive, gaudy silver cross? Put it prominently on that wall, please, George."
Also, I kept thinking this is prior to The Shining, isn't it? When was The Shining written? 1970, because that was pretty fast tracked to be a movie as well, wouldn't it?
I think that would have been mid to late 70s.
Stephen King probably saw these murders as well and thought, I've got one ready to go. Don't worry.
Right, that's it. Because was it an axe in the book, or am I thinking of the TV show? It was like a TV movie, wasn't there? And it wasn't an axe; it was something else.
It was
what was it?
A croquet
mallet.
Croquet mallet in the TV one, right?
Was it an axe
and
in
the book? Yeah. No, it's croquet mallet in the book.
Croquet mallet as well. Okay. Yeah. So obviously looking at this going, it's a bloody rip-off of The Shining, which was written before this, but the film came out after this, and there was a croquet mallet in the book and an axe in the original.
It's ripping it off.
Because obviously it's yeah, go on, sorry.
Well, I think it all seems okay until Father Delaney. Is it Father Delaney?
He comes round. They're having a lovely time. Everyone
walks into the house. Well, you can't just walk into someone's house. No matter how religious you are.
The guys are obviously outside as well. They're not even out. They're just all in the back garden. The kids are doing some generic. There's a lovely shot of some kids doing generic playing.
I bet he knew no one was in there, so he let one go.
Wow.
Exorcise the demons.
Yeah. That's it, like, is it? 'Cause he comes in, he thought, "Oh, I really needed to let that out. I'm glad they're not here, but I tell you what, I won't get their attention now. I need to wait for this to dissipate. So as I'm here,
flapping his pants around.
He's doing his best to smell. He's doing his best to smell it all up. So it'll be gone. So it's gone before anyone comes over.
That's exactly how it works.
Yeah. So he thinks, all right, I'll tell you what then. I'll just
get a Sunday way for that.
I'll just red wine and bread. So he's doing his best. I'll just do
I've lost my vision. I've gone blind.
That's what happens to him there. It's a potent time, but he thinks, right, as I'm here, I'll start your standard exorcism package on the house. Do it a little blessing. And the house isn't a fan of that at all. He goes, right, mate, you know what I think of you being in here? All the flies, every fly.
Yeah, the house turned into a cockney.
Peggy Mitchell.
Get out of my pub.
Yeah.
But yeah, loads of flies. Nothing really happens though. He gets a few beads of sweat on his head and he starts to cough. Yeah. He has like a little attack and he goes home and he kind of gets ill.
He gets poorly.
Nothing happened. Like in the remake, right? Flies kill the man to death, right? I'm pretty sure that's what happens.
Oh, he leaves. Oh, yeah, yeah. Basically, in the new one, they come out like it's a bit like cartoon bees, you know, and they're chasing you, and they like turn into an exclamation mark and then chase you. Yeah. It's like that. So like, he comes in and he starts doing the exorcism, and then the flies turn in. They come smashing out of a grate and they turn into a big fist and like biff him out of the door, and then it does get out. Just they come and like grab him by the collar and like hoist him out of the house.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air style. Whoa.
Classic.
Yeah. Throw him out like Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah.
But in this one, they just go on him, and he's like, "Oh no, horrible!" Ah.
Yeah, he's isn't he?
And then he leaves. Yeah, he doesn't. He goes, and then to be fair,
he doesn't even tell them on the way out. You've got a fly problem in there. Doesn't he? He speaks to them.
He goes.
It probably still smells a bit. He's like, "Better not risk it."
A bit embarrassing.
I have been got by these flies, but I did get away with that part. So,
well, he probably didn't get away with all the flies flapping about.
He he gets out. Unfortunately, the house is so angry that its mic peaks a little bit when it's like it distorts a little bit. Yeah. But he's fine. He is just poorly, and in fact, he gets more poorly from trying to phone them because after he's gone home, he's gone. Oh, don't want them to think I didn't appear. So he phones, and then he phones. I was going to say Margot Robbie. Then he phones Margot Kidder. He's like, I've been right, and then as soon as he's there, the house is like, right, interference, and then I'll burn your hand a bit from being on the phone to this house. It's like, well, a minute, I've got to go for a lie down. He asked the other priest to watch over him because when Margot phones back later and says, I was on the phone to the priest was meant to come round, and the other one's going to always, he's actually really poorly. He's just asleep at the minute, and he's literally sat over his bed while he's asleep. He's like, the priest is like,
really poorly, I'm afraid. Yeah,
he's in bed. He's gone for like, I'm just watching over him.
Yeah, the other priest, the other father, he's got like slightly long hair and like either the hint of a stubble, like he's got a 5 o'clock shadow. And later on, one of the other priests says, "Get a haircut."
Oh yeah,
like, one of the guys.
I honestly was like, "Who's he talking to?"
He's like, "Get a haircut and a shave, will you, absolute prick?"
Yeah. Someone else says, I feel like that happened a couple of times. People were bringing up haircuts and shaving. It feels like maybe the director doesn't like
problem. Was it something? Was it in the 70s? I guess when people were having beards and long hair quite a lot.
Like that's post 60s though, so like surely people are used to it.
To be fair,
if you're in church, you famously had long hair and a beard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who?
Jesus.
Yeah. Big bad Jesus.
Yeah. So Father Delaney, now I think about it, it's a lot like my Hungarian granddad. He always had like quite a large forehead area that was always like quite sweaty and moist.
Was he ever, when he tried to phone you sometimes, was the static online and then he had to go for a lie down?
Yeah. He was always trumping his pants.
Yeah, always getting thumped by flies. George has pointed out at this point, I like the kids all seem to be having little bits of mishaps. So George has already said, he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. In fact, it's like, it'd be nice if they started calling me Dad instead of George. But take your wins where you've got them, George, because they might not call you Dad, but like the daughter at least wears exactly the same outfits as you. When she's fallen asleep, just on the floor in the house, picture of him, she's got the same shirt, the same pattern on. She camouflages into him like a chameleon when he takes her up to bed.
Yeah.
But he seems to be a bit possessed out of nothing. Like, this is where the remake differs a little, because we see Ryan Reynolds seeing things and things happening. But at this point in the movie, George is just a bit grumpy from having been upstairs for a minute. Like, he comes downstairs having taken the kid and took the kid in. And Kathy Lick says, do you want some dinner? And he goes, no, I'm not hungry. Not even the hot dogs I made for you specially. For fuck's sake, no!
Especially not the fucking hot dogs. Processed meat. He is just fuming. He's very jumpy. He's trying to have a sneaky cigarette at one point, and a cat just comes up to the window, makes him shit his pants.
Well, that's a few minutes. The cat, the narc, when basically anything that George might be doing to relieve his stress. But for one thing, the house is drafty, and he's fed up. The next time, he does a great bit of pointing at Margot Kidder, and she's in the sexiest underwear of the 70s available, only 3 layers. She's in a sexy
3 layers.
She's in a sexiest jammies, and he goes, and they start getting it. Is this the point you mentioned, Ben, when you're watching it? Is this when your daughter and her friends come in the one sex scene in this otherwise quite tame movie?
That's pretty much what happened. They walked in during now in my memory of it, I don't remember it very well, but it was a very 70s sex scene, wasn't it, where everyone was pretty much fully clothed.
Just rolling about on the bed, pressed against each other very tightly.
Do you want to take off that layer of flannel shirt and thermal underwear?
No thanks, already got 3 kids.
Nah,
dry humping, but without the humping aspect.
Yeah, no,
so just dry.
No suggestive
very
movements,
dry.
but nevertheless, they're still embarrassed enough because maybe, Ben, it was a little bit of like 5D cinema, because much like people walked in on you when you were watching that sex scene, that's what happens. So one of their kids, Buzz Killington, comes in just as they're having sex, and he's like, all right then. And then he goes down to have a cigarette, which is when that narc of a cat turns up at the window.
Who is that cat? That cat doesn't belong to them, does it? Like, I think it doesn't even appear. Maybe it appears later on. We see some eyes, but I don't think that's that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a cat that comes to make sure he doesn't have a cigarette either. So he's having a bad time. And then we go to a day later, or like a couple of days later, and this is where he's turned from jolly Bob Ross immediately into furious Christian Bale, just chopping wood all day and getting furious that wants help with the shopping.
He's got like dark rings around his eyes, like he hasn't slept a wink. He's very
always
sweaty.
cold.
He's got a constant cold. He's always saying he's cold, but he's got a constant like sweaty chest.
Sheen.
Yeah. He wears that. Does he wear that jumper that he's wearing in that picture behind you for the entire film after he gets
pretty much? Yeah.
possessed?
I mean, it looks a little bit discolored, doesn't it?
I mean, that's earlier on, but like later on, after he uses it to like clean everything down. He uses it to like wipe down that oil from the cross and to clean the hobs. I think he probably uses it to clean the air fryer.
What are you doing in there? I'm wiping down my oily cross.
Cleaning the oven.
I beg your pardon. Oh, in this film, you know.
Yeah, Buzz Killington will be right in there again. Excuse me.
Yeah.
You're doing what?
Yeah, he's having a bad time. Kathy comes and goes, oh, she goes up and like does that thing where she just pokes him in the ribs, and he doesn't take kindly to that. And I know what you're feeling. Sometimes if you concentrate on something and someone does that to you, it's more annoying than it is sweet.
Is annoying.
Yeah, we got some headphones in. You're in your own world, listening to something, and someone rips your headphones out. Yeah, I could understand getting a shock.
Livid. Grabs that axe straight away. It's like,
there's like I don't know when this happens, but there's a bit where Margot or Kathy Lick imagines him killing the kids and imagines him hitting her in the head with the axe. I thought it was like really gruesome.
Yeah,
like her head pops.
They're all having nightmares. There's another nightmare that Kathy Lick has where she just sits up and goes, "She shot him in the head."
Yeah.
You what?
Nothing, I guess.
Weird dream.
There's a bit later on where James Brolin shouts, "I'm falling apart," or something like that. And then she says, "Are you okay?" And he says, "Yeah, it's just a dream."
It's very
just stood in the middle of the room.
Tommy Wiseau, isn't it? It's very Tommy Wiseau, that moment. But there's also a lot of really intense emotional outbursts in this film as well, where people seem like they've got it kind of together for a moment, and then they just go, "Oh my fucking god!"
So he just loses it. At this point, like he hasn't, the first bit with the shopping, he hasn't lost it fully, but like he tries to cover for it. He's like, never do that again. And then she looks a bit hurt by it, as he would. And he's like, never sneak up with a man on an axe, JK, just kidding. Just joking. The thing that I was doing, I wasn't really angry.
But then he gets like, she's like bought some nice tea or something.
Because her aunt is coming over, who is a nun.
You got to get nice tea from nuns.
That's right. Is it her aunt who was a nun, was it? Yeah.
She's like, Auntie Nun is coming round.
Auntie Nun. The Auntie Nun.
This
nun pure evil.
Like pure evil nun. This nun pretty much walks into the house and then just
vomits on the stairs.
And it just goes,
vomits on the kids.
Vomits on the kids. Vomits on every surface in the house. Vomits on James Brolin's lovely hair.
I'm not feeling very well. Are you sure?
I feel like these kids
sick noise was intense.
These kids are harsh though. Like this, that'll be the door. That'll be your Auntie Nun is here. Go and let her in. He goes, "Oh no,
but like
Auntie Nun, she's an absolute bitch." And then they get downstairs and she's the jolliest person ever.
Nicest woman in the world. Oh, but she like pinches his cheek or something, doesn't like that. But also there's like I don't want to say poo, but the toilets are overfilling. There's like stuff coming out. I don't think it's George, it's like a sludge.
It's always the way, isn't it? Just as you've got guests coming, that's when your toilets erupt with poo.
You got guests coming. Have you got the nibbles ready?
Not just any guests, the most religious, most loveliest of guests in the world.
Yeah.
No wonder she's thrown up everywhere.
I've got in some chips. I've got in some chips and dips. I've got in the nice tea that she likes. All I need to happen is for the septic tank not to, back up and.
Yeah.
What's happened?
Yeah.
You never guess what's happened. It's only gone in.
Poor Auntie Nun.
She's also a basketball playing nun, because there's a scene a little bit later where we see her
score the 3-pointer. I'm sure
she's tossing 3-pointers.
And then does some breakdancing.
Yeah,
she tackles that kid, and then those kids are tiny compared to not even chest.
An alley-oop with God. Like you don't see God hold the ball up for her.
How did you do that? Don't ask, don't tell.
You see two sets of footprints, and then one of the footprints disappears. It's because God's jumped into the air to dunk it.
Eat shit, kids.
She floats back down to earth afterwards and dunked it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You thought we were playing 3-on-1, but actually the Lord is on my side.
Bitches.
He's the most powerful 2-on-2 player that you could ever team with.
Okay, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, so she goes, I can't stay actually. I've got it, and then I immediately feel poorly, so gotta go. And then she gets out and does basically second only, I think, to maybe like Team America vomiting, very subtly off camera. She just opens the door and then just like goes, oh!
It's a really horrible, intense vomit.
You gave up on life, Gary.
Yeah. So anyone who even is slightly religious, as they come into this house, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, but isn't Kathy, like, she's slightly religious as well? But maybe anyone who is
member of the church,
member of the Catholic Church. I got so annoyed at those. There was a really long scene where the father is trying to convince the church to do something about the family, and they get into a crazy emotional argument. And I think this is 20 minutes too long.
It's like
why are they going on about this?
Sorry, Ben, you go.
The dude who's so angry and won't give them help has got such a horrible negative attitude where he's like, oh yeah,
take a look.
Well, that is it. Look,
do you want to know this though?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, that guy is the one that's we don't want to say that everything is the devil when they have AKA playing devil's advocate, literally going, oh yeah, it's not the devil. I don't think it should have. And the worst thing about it is, that man who is the priest that doesn't want to do fuck all about it goes, oh, there's no danger, there's no devil, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he is. It's the bloody mayor from Jaws, isn't it?
What, it's the actual actor?
It's the mayor. It's the mayor from Jaws that goes,
what
oh, there's
is
no
his problem?
Then he's like, oh, there's no devil.
There's literal evidence.
Yeah.
And this is I think this is after this bit rather than before, that they get a bollocking from the guy. And then one of the others tells the younger guy to get a haircut as well. But on the way to see them, I assume, the young priest is driving the older one, who's still a bit poorly. It looks like he's just hanging in the car. As he's driving, just even pick a friend up when they're really hungover from a party or something. And he's he's got his head against the window.
He's chundering. He's on the dry heaps now, but we're going to get him a McDonald's breakfast and he'll be all right.
He's like, come on.
That car gets absolutely wrecked. And they're trying to explain to those guys, yeah, tell them about the steering wheels, that the demon took over the wheel or something. And the guy's like, well, it wasn't that big a deal, was it? Does the steering wheel locked up? The car's been wrote off, mate.
Yeah, you get recall. You get recalls all the time. Blame Detroit, not the devil. All right.
Oh yeah, he does say that. Blame Detroit.
I just don't understand that guy's attitude. Do you not believe in God and evil and stuff? Just go and have a look. What's the harm in just popping around? He doesn't want to do anything. He's too lazy. Can't be asked.
That's it.
He just wants to go home.
Maybe there's a deleted scene where he goes, "Oh, phone the Warrens and send them round, will you? Get them to have a look at this." I mean, from an acting point of view, though, when they're driving over, the main problem with the steering wheel is that you're grabbing it. The other goes, "What's happening to the wheel?" Grabbing it, mate.
Yeah,
I'm not taking you to the Donalds.
That guy would rather fire the priest than go and have a look.
Yeah.
Maybe the priest was really bad at his job, I suppose.
He's looking for an excuse.
Very gassy. You are.
You're very gassy. I can't help it. High fiber diet.
The bishop's told him, like, you've got to cut some of your staff down a little bit.
Lord,
But they're priests by nature. They're quite good. So what am I going to do to get rid of one? I don't know. If one of them suggests even the slightest bit of an exorcism, we ain't got the budget for it. Sack them off.
Yeah. But maybe it's a little bit after that. But the priest is like doing a prayer for them in the church, and he sees like the face of the Virgin Mary cracking, and then he just goes blind.
Yeah,
because a big piece of the face falls down, and it seems to like float down like a leaf, like if I was going to smash him on the head or something.
And then throughout this, the other guy's just watching. He's now shaved. He's now like the sideburns guy from The Simpsons when he's like gone all the way over his head, it's like shaved right through the middle. Maybe you know what sideburns are, Mr. Burns. And
you're off the team.
He's watching it, and then this guy goes blind, only purely for making a prayer about the house.
This house is influential though, because
what I'm going to do to you, I'm going to make you blind.
He does it in a church. But it's a scene as well where he goes, where he does the prayer, and he shouts like Jesus, he really bellows it because he wants Jesus to make sure he hears him. He's got to shout loud to hear it for him to hear all the way up in heaven. Yeah. He shouts so loud that he goes blind. But after he's done the prayer, the guy comes up and he goes, "What's wrong? This is up there when can he see?" He's like, "I'm blind. I can't see. I can't see. I've shouted too loud. I made myself go blind."
And he goes,
after he's blind, if you look, he's got a Planeteer ring. He could have summoned Captain Planet instead. He's got like a big blue ring. I guess the guy's water.
After he goes blind, he like becomes all emo and dresses like Death and sits in a garden, just like looking around. Obviously not looking.
To be fair, Ben, you don't know. Maybe in another scene he's tried to do it again, because all we know, the only thing is emo because the young priest comes and goes, "Don't you read your letters to you? Read. You've got one from an old patient here. Do you want me to read it?" And he doesn't. For all we know, he could have also gone deaf, but we haven't seen. So he's just sitting there. He's like, he's probably sitting there quietly, as cheerful as you like, thinking, "Wonder if that priest's going to come visit me today," and he just hasn't known. But we've kind of covered his arc. Meanwhile,
he doesn't get any kind of like comeuppance or redemption, or he doesn't get his vision back. They just fob him up. It's just sad now.
He's just gone. Meanwhile, in the house itself, Christian Bale is already livid, and they've got Margot Kidder's brother's wedding's coming up, and he's there counting the money. He's like, "I've got to pay that."
Yeah, is it I thought it was the wedding, but is it an engagement party or something?
I thought it was the wedding.
I thought it was the wedding as well. It seemed very wedding-like. Everyone was in suits. I think you mentioned him being the best man as well.
You got to pay the caterer. Yeah, he's your best man. Although they proper do some negging. If you see the priests are negging the young priest, get a shaving haircut. Do you win? The groom is there. He's counting the money for the caterer. In comes George, and he goes, "Fucking hell, George, you look terrible."
A lot of people say that to him, didn't they? I think at least 3 people say to him,
"Worst
you look
I've
like
ever seen
utter
you.
shit.
Absolute shit.
You look like
a
you've been dragged through a hedge backwards.
Need a haircut."
You're just like a corpse. I mean, so the feeling is here that the spirit that's possessing the house had some bills to pay, and it's like, "I'm taking that money."
Pay his automobiles, pay his telephone bills.
Why would it eat money? Like it even like burps out the wrap that they put around the money afterwards.
The little band. Although that being said, why was that guy obsessively counting it so much? Because that band around it literally said $1,500.
He was like, "I've got to count it again, maybe another time, because the house is going to nick it any second."
I think he counted it so much he wore it out. Like there was no cash left.
You looked at it so hard that it was used up.
It's turned to dust.
So he's lost it, but don't worry. George says, "Don't worry, I'll cover it." So they go to the wedding.
It got to be
quite kind, isn't it? He can't be that possessed if he's willing to step in like that.
And they get the babysitter in. They get the babysitter in, and she's staying to look after the youngest daughter while the other 2 are staying at home.
Babysitter looks like a right nerd.
The babysitter's got one. The babysitter's got like a brace, but like it's on the outside of her face. And the braces like that exist anymore?
No, I don't think so.
No.
do braces even exist? Because I had braces. That's the only reason I feel comfortable saying that, like a right nerd, because I had braces. But like,
Same.
and I had the ones that were like on the outside of the teeth, like, and they were like a fence, and they kind of tighten them. But I've never had that thing where it goes
ones on the outside of your
over
head.
the head. Yeah.
Maybe she's got one. Maybe she's got wonky ears as well. They need to straighten those out.
Pull them in. Yeah. That's
Just
bizarre.
do it all.
I mean,
Have you got anything that could just do it all in one go, please?
Yeah.
Just like a man in the Iron Mask situation.
Exactly.
I can't work out why it would need to go outside the head. Because the teeth
maybe a
inside
jaw,
the mouth.
Maybe a jaw's out of line.
Yeah, but I mean, what's it like securing it to? I don't know. I'm not an orthodontist.
I'm not an orthodontist. I don't claim to be.
I will just say that making a kid wear that is cruel, very cruel.
A kid who's also very scared, is very claustrophobic and very scared of being locked in any.
And has a very weak
space.
grip. She can't undo the door. Like it's not even locked. It's not even got a lock on it. She can't undo it.
Possessed knob, don't it? It's a possessed knob.
It is a bit of a knob.
Yeah.
Possessed knob.
Possessed knob, and then using the possessed knob, she gets shut in the.
Every time you try and hold it, it licks your hand.
Oh no, don't. And the little girl's imaginary friend Jodie, who she's been talking to a few times.
Is Jodie the younger? Is she from the family that got shot?
Yeah, she's one of the kids.
What's her problem then?
Got shot.
Why does she want to not like authority or something? Why is she like the babysitter in there?
A real dickhead about it.
In the remake, the babysitter says that she used to babysit for that family, and she's like, "Well, don't matter. They got shot. This is my territory, so I'm going to babysit for whoever moves in here." I don't know if they make that. I don't think they make that connection in the original. I don't think that's mentioned.
She's like, like, this is my territory. She asks the sort of early teenage son if he does French kisses, and he bottles it.
Wait, was that in the original and the remake?
No, in the remake.
That was weird. That was very strange. So
it's like, you're about 5 years older than him.
In the remake,
it
she's
feels like he's 12 and you're 16.
Maybe even older than that. She's like, it was weird. She asked him if he French kissed, and he's like, or something like that.
He's like, no.
He's like, French what? French pastries?
Toast?
What are you on about? French toast? Yeah, what are you on about?
French toast for days. I need three slices, mate. I'm all right. But no, he doesn't know about kissing. And then she goes, yeah, that family was murdered. But either way, in both cases, she gets locked in the cupboard. And she's in there the whole time. In this one, she's banging on the door so much the paint's come off. Josh Brolin's dad's going to be furious.
Her hands
George
bleeding as well. Hands
Yeah.
are bleeding.
Yeah.
You take a run up, wouldn't you? You take a run up and run into it head
Do
first.
something. I mean, I guess she's having like a panic attack. I guess something she can do.
Yeah.
But there's no lock on that door. James Brolin's quite keen to point out that the babysitter's just being an idiot.
Yeah, they're livid though. Because when they get back from the wedding, Josh Brolin is almost pretty much turned Super Saiyan. His hair has gone mental. He's like Lionel.
He looks like Harry from Home Alone 2 after he's been electrocuted.
Yeah.
So he's got like full. He's got full.
Have you just tried to rob a house on your way over?
But he's had a big row in the toilets at the wedding with the contractor, the caterer for the wedding.
Yeah.
The caterer's like, I wanted cash. He goes, well, the cash has gone missing. So you're gonna get. I mean, fair play, to be honest. What does the guy want? He said, I was told cash. I said, well, the cash has gone missing. So you're gonna have a check.
Your finger sandwiches and mini rolls were shit. They're not worth 1,500 quid.
This is the best threat in the world as well, because he's like, right, you're either going to accept a check or you're going to go out there and you're going to eat your own food.
Yeah. And he goes out and he's sat down. He's eating it all. Going, yeah, you want this? What you want?
Mini pizzas. Yeah.
Mini pizzas, vol au vents, garlic bread.
I bet he spent ages with the little mini doughs, chuck them in the air and spin them on his fingers.
This is just the thing with of like, you just take the thing that someone's asking, you turn it into a threat. I wasn't there for this firsthand, but in years gone by, Karen has told me the story. She's at a nightclub with her friends, went into the toilets. Obviously, in days gone by, were in the toilets, and there was a woman in there in the cubicle on the phone, and she called out to the rest of Karen and her mates in the toilet saying, "Can you guys be quiet out there? I'm on a phone call." And Karen's mate was like,
God.
"Not a fucking phone box, mate." And this woman already on a phone box your fucking face in a minute.
Wow.
Shit.
I mean,
I thought you were going to do
box.
that. I'll phone your box in a minute. I always just get like, my mum used to do stuff like that.
I will X your
I don't want to go to
face in a minute.
school. Yeah. I don't want to go to school, Mum. You won't go to school in a minute. Like, she always like, it was always just the same whatever you said.
I'll give you something to cry about. Jesus Christ.
The abuse
Aggressive.
of the 70s and 80s. I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah, I will.
Shotgun you to
Box you
death like
fucking
those
face
kids
it.
that used to live here.
Yeah.
Just this is where, like, so it's come back. It's a massive nightmare in that they get back there and the babysitter comes piling out saying, "Oh, she locked me in and she wouldn't let me out." And at first, they're very reasonable because there's no lock on that door. Look, opens and closes, that there is no lock. And the next thing they turn to the little girl and go, "Why didn't you unlock the door?"
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
It's
You're
like
at the door,
asking,
you bitch.
there is no lock. Why didn't you unlock it? Yeah, that's messing your daughter up for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they go down, and then George is already annoyed, and he comes downstairs, and that's where he sees the little band from Round the Money.
See, I can relate to that. You know, you can't find something and you're sure you know where it is. You just start throwing stuff around to try and find it, and it's like the frustration levels are off the chain. I can see it. Maybe I got possessed a few times in the past, and I've been looking for stuff, chucking washing across the living room.
Several times
Where's
I
the
thought, like, are we just going to
key?
see it? I thought, is it going to be a clue? Like, are we going to see it in the fire or something like that? And it's going to have been
Never shows up again.
No.
Yeah.
Also, something's
has just
biting his
been gone.
ankles. Is it because he trips over the? There's like a dragon.
The porcelain
sculpture.
dragon.
Is that biting him? Why has he got bite marks on his feet?
Maybe he tripped over the teeth part of the sculpture, especially.
Yeah. Weird. That doesn't get any answers. So I think his business partner starts turning up as well.
Yeah, I
saying,
think
"Mate, you've
like
not
where
paid."
he's obviously been neglecting his business because he's been busy getting possessed
wood.
by this house, chopping wood like nobody's
Just
business,
chopping wood because
and
he's cold.
possessed. And I
Yeah.
think his business partner says like, look, no one's getting paid, everyone's fuming, we've
Mhm.
got no work, you're a prick, basically.
He says,
And he's like, "Well, you're breaking my balls, man."
Get your head together. And at first he's like, "Oh, I've come to get you to sign the checks." He goes, "What day is it? Thursday. Should have given those checks yesterday."
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, what you know, mate? Come on, it's your fault. And the wife of the guy who is like business partner won't go
Mhm.
anywhere near the house. She like gets back in the truck and says,
Not now. Later on, she
"Oh,
can't get
no."
in there quick enough.
Yeah,
Right.
later on she's like, "Let me in,
Run
I will
into one.
anyway."
Yeah,
Like
at
a
the
dog is
beginning.
trying to go in the house.
She's like, "No." Speaking of dogs, though, that's at the same time as the dog has started like digging at the basement. Like the
Oh,
dog
yeah,
is
dig so
looking
much
at
at, like,
blatant
it-
clues, and it's like
Yeah.
no one takes any attention to, like, the dog is
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
His
What's
paws
the
get
dog?
bloody, don't they?
dog is digging at dog is digging at a clue there."
The
Yeah.
dog's got a human name as well, which I always appreciate. Harry.
Harry.
Harry, yeah.
Harry the dog.
Hairy dog. Yeah.
Harry Dog is, as we've already revealed, the hero of the entire movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is, yeah.
100%.
So he's gone. Yeah, so the poor the dog's having a looking for a clue. Margot phones the priest again at this point, and he just gets, like, again, this poor chap's just answered the phone a few times, and he's sitting in the house and he's not going to answer it, and he's like,
That priest looks
All
like
right.
he's about to say,
"Hello," and as soon as he gets to it, he's like, "Ah!"
yeah. What's the other priest called again? He looks like he's about to say something about it puts the cream on or gets the hose again. Like he looks a little bit like the Silence of the Lambs killer. I can't remember his name.
Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. Oh, Sorry to cause the dead air on this podcast.
No, just catching up my notes. This crazy.
Didn't mean to do that, but
you're right. So the priest, the priest from Buffalo Bill, the priest gets a horrible migraine.
And he's got no Nurofen in the house.
Yeah, he's gone. Wouldn't be able to find it anyway. Oh no, he hasn't gone blind at this point just yet. But meanwhile, there's a little sing-along going on. This is where the little girl is doing some Jesus songs, and then they look outside, and there's horrible red eyes violin player doing a violin sting, just to scare Kathy away.
Yeah. Those eyes are quite far apart. I thought it looked. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be a cat or something. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it had like cat's eyes.
We never have any like the devil. We don't know.
No. Yeah. What is it? Are we talking about the image behind you? Yeah.
No, this is
Not
later when
bit,
it's this bit. It's when she looks out of the window.
Oh yeah, the eye. I remember now. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Eyes.
Just a pair of floating eyeballs.
Hmm.
Yeah. Don't know.
Floaty eyeballs.
So both of the family's kind of, even though he hasn't said he's falling apart yet, the family's kind of coming apart. They all go and do their individual research. So George goes and steals a book from a bookshop.
From a library, isn't it?
Was it from a library?
Just borrow it.
Yeah.
Have you got a library card? Have you got a library card? Fuck you.
I think it's library because there's everyone's like making a point to like whisper to each other.
People do that in bookshops though as well. You go into Waterstones, everyone's like, there you go. So it's a book, it's a shop, it's not a library, so you can talk normal.
Yeah, you shouting at them. It's a bookshop.
It's a bookshop, you twats.
Speak up. What?
So he does that. Meanwhile, Kathy, I think this is when she goes to talk to the other priest to ask after the one that's gone missing. This is where the nun's doing some dunks. And yeah, so she goes out to do some research as well. It's not at the point that happens when there's only 15 minutes of the film, like where we get an entire tutorial on how to use microfiche at the library, where the guys are, do this to turn the pages.
Oh yeah,
to zoom in.
Did you recognize this guy? I managed to identify him, but it took me ages to get confirmation. So for the next 10 minutes of the movie, I was frantically Googling.
Who is it?
So it's a guy, his name in this was just newspaper clerk in Amityville Horror. And I was like, he is definitely one of the dudes from The Thing. Specifically, I can't think of the character name. The one who ends up like out in the snow, like with his mutated hand, and they burn him.
Oh, okay. Bennings. Is that Bennings?
Peter Maloney, his name is. So I'll probably double check in a second. Might be Bennings, yeah.
But this is when, at some point, this is before she gets the full confirmation with the microfilm, but she learns about John Ketchum, America's first Pokemon trainer. The church called it witchcraft, and he was killed. This might explain everything.
John Ketchum.
John Ketchum.
What is the author's name who wrote The Girl Next Door? Jack Ketchum.
Yeah, Jack
I think
Ketchum.
he named himself, because it's a pen name, I think he named himself after that character, that person.
What
John Ketchum.
Bastard.
Yeah.
That's where he got all those flies from. They're some of his early Pokemon captures.
Flies. Just a load of meat flies. Yeah.
Yeah, a load of meat. Yeah, a meat flies. It's probably got a load of ghost types, I guess, which is why he's able to trip people over, do tricks. Those red eyes outside the window.
Yeah.
All of this, it all makes sense. And he was burned for witchcraft, much like original Pokemon when it became popular in the 90s. Lots of folks in the religious things going, these are like demons. So in many ways, they weren't ready for it when John Ketchum was a Pokemon trainer years earlier. The husband, so George has a research party with his friends. He catches up with his mate from work, who basically tells him some harsh truths. He goes, "Oh, look, you've taken on a wife with 3 kids. You've changed religions," and he gives him a thump, punches him, and he goes, "Fine."
That's weird. Now we can talk.
That's
how all business meetings start. That's really the one to go back to the office and on a scrap all the Zoom stuff. You can't punch your business partner in the face before the meeting starts.
You
But why
How
does
do
he
you know the
like-
meeting started if you haven't smacked someone in the chops?
He takes it really well, doesn't he? Doesn't he take it well? Doesn't he
He
do
says,
well?
now we can start. He says, thank God, now we can talk.
Now we can talk. And then
You
they
can't
kiss.
talk, mate.
They
Your
kiss
mouth is
deeply.
swelling up.
Yeah, now we've done a punch and you've got that out of your system. The
You
madness.
didn't even
We
get
can
a
have
punch
a
back.
talk
Did you
about
not
it.
get a free punch back? And maybe I missed
No.
the point where George gave him the old, the ring finger thing.
Yeah,
Look at
was
that.
that.
What?
Although
Yeah.
although as we go on, they do the research, and it's his business partner and his wife who wouldn't go in the house earlier. And then it turns out, don't worry, you haven't got to be in a possessed house to be a horrible arsehole to your wife in the world of Amityville Horror, because they're doing this research in the book and says here that it might be ghosties causing all this problem. And the husband goes, "Oh, shut up, dickhead, stop saying these horrible things about it being ghosts." And I was like, all right. But she's right though. And they say, look, tell you what, you have a night off. You go out for a lovely dinner, and we'll babysit the kids and stay in the house. As soon as they get there, they immediately go piling in down to the basement, see that the dog is still looking for clues. And before you know it, are smashing the wall open.
Yeah. Like, she doesn't even ask for permission before she starts wanging at the bricks.
Serious.
There's a pickaxe right here. I'm on it.
Yeah. But then George jumps in. So in the remake, they do a similar thing, but that leads to the underground dungeon sort of thing, right?
Yeah. That leads to the Dungeon of Exposition, where he learns about Jack Ketchum.
In this one, is it just a sludgy puddle? That's the only thing that's down there.
It's a sludgy puddle, and then
And a red light.
The wife, he sees. I'm sure it's meant to be himself and is the spirit of the
like a
murderer,
hovering head.
Yeah, he sees a
Yeah.
hologram of McCready from the thing.
Yeah.
That was kind of odd, because I kept thinking, is it just him who sees it?
Yeah.
And initially I was like, oh, it's just a mirror. It's just a mirror down there. It's got, that's my head, and he's wearing the same thing I'm wearing. What the fuck? It's a mirror. It's a mirror, George.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't. He doesn't. They don't talk about the mirror image of the fading ghosty man, because the wife immediately gets possessed of the business partner and goes, "Oh," she says it in a ghost voice. Obviously,
yeah.
She goes, "Do you want to cover this up? This is a gateway to hell." I'm not sure why a possessed voice would say cover up the gateway to hell. They'd probably go, "Hey,
Yeah.
There it is then.
Yeah.
Finally.
Okay, but then they have a conversation, and they obviously don't get their night out as was planning, typical. And then Kathy's saying, you heard that voice, you know who that voice was. No.
Who was it? It's like that voice at this. Do you remember the TV program This Is Your Life, where they used to put a little voice across? Well, me and you, we used to love playing snooker together. It was great. And he goes, "Oh yes, but he can, innit? Ken,
Jimmy White.
Jimmy White." He goes, "You know that voice is. Who is it? It's do 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 do." Oh, actually, that's Stars in Their Eyes. I get confused by
Matthew,
it's Satan. Oh,
Can
look at
you
that transformation. Wow.
Can you imagine if it was? Because I'm probably worse at guessing things when I have a clue sometimes. The other day, really basic, just walking on with Karen goes, what's my favourite tea been recently? And I was like, I could have told you if you hadn't given me, I asked for it just the other day, and I was like, now I'm thinking there's all these subtle clues that I might have got, and the thing that is going to be really obvious once you tell me out of the window, it's just like,
Got it. That's
it's
it.
like that. His voice that was. It was
No idea.
uh,
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Who is it?
It never happens on this. It never happens on This Is Your Life, is it? Can you imagine
what's his
something you
face?
haven't seen for years? And it'd be like,
Who the fuck is
Who?
that?
And he walks out.
And you're like, who the fuck? Oh, that's I got
great
a restraining order
seeing you.
against that guy. And that's how he's got me, is it?
Think
By
you
coming
paid
on
for my house.
you owe me a tenner.
I stood next to you at a urinal 4 years ago and admired your length. It's me.
Oh yeah, I remember you. I was the toilet man with the perfumes in the toilet in Rock City during a Stone Sour gig of '97.
You came in and you said, "I love Corey Taylor. He's so sexy," and I said,
"Have a smell."
The only change you had.
Have a bit of dupe. Have a bit of dupe on your neck, and get back out there and make him notice you. Lock eyes with you from the front row.
I said freshen up. You said yes, please. And funnily enough, the only change you had was a £2 coin. I said, "Oh, don't worry about it," but you gave me it anyway, and that stuck with me.
I went, "Have a Chupa Chups," and you said, "Nah." And you said, "Nah," and just left. I've never forgotten that night. All right, and I'm here now.
I'm here tonight. But yeah, we don't know who that. We don't know who that voice was. This is when we get the scene that we already talked about, where the priest shouts so much, asking for their good health, that he goes blind. The nun is nailing sweet 3-pointers when he's an emo now. And then meanwhile at the house, George trips over that dragon and has the whole scene where he, envisions killing the family and goes, "I'm coming apart."
Yeah.
I'm coming apart like wet toilet paper.
That's the last thing you want when you've just moved into a house and there's still loads of jobs to do.
So is the night where the friends come around to let them out for dinner, that's not the last night, is it?
No, the last night is. So that's happened. They had the I'm coming apart. He's been mean to Kathy and
he punched her in the face.
Punches her. She calls him a bastard.
Punched her. But it's one of those punches where, in movies where someone gets hit and they immediately have got blood streaming down their face, like bang, blood. It's like there's no chance for the blood to run down his face.
Yeah, and he punches her like she's in a Western stunt show. Like it's a really big, like sold punch. So things. And
then he picks up a chair and he breaks it across her back.
Yeah, and then she gets loads of like bottles and like smashes them over and throws him through a plate glass window, and he falls off like a balcony from the first floor into a hay bale. So it's okay. Classic.
Puts his hat back on. Shit.
Things are really looking bad for them. So this is when Kathy goes and has her microfiche tutorial, which is only 15 minutes left of the film. She learns that they have to get up. Well, she decides from reading that, and when she learns more about Jack Ketchum, the murderer, she realizes they have to leave the house. And this is where she gets home. So it's all nightmarish. The rain is coming down. That axe has been sharpened to within an inch of its life. And correct me if I'm wrong, I've missed a point here, but basically the kids are having to hide from him because he's skulking around the house. Kathy comes back and chokes him briefly and then falls on the floor and is like, "Oh, don't hurt my kids." And then he's just fine. And he's like, "Of course I'd never hurt you and the kids. Should we leave?"
Yeah, it doesn't have much of an issue. So the walls start bleeding at that point, right?
Yeah, after he said, he's chopped the door, because he was chopping at the door where the kids are hiding in the bedroom, and he almost hears Johnny's rip off, and then that's when she comes home and he goes, "Oh, bloody hell. I see how that looks. I see how that looks actually. Probably doesn't look like I was going to chop you with the axe. I wouldn't.
I was just opening the door with the axe. I wasn't going to chop any people."
The other day,
it does look bad, doesn't it?
The other day when that door stuck, it's like that, and I just thought, I've had enough of these doors in this house. Stick in.
I'm gonna chop them.
Looking for that money. You're not in this door.
Oh, Kathy, you never guess what? Walls are bleeding. Bloody walls are bleeding.
Walls will start bleeding. The stairs are dripping with blood, and they just think, right, now's the time to go. So they just.
Well, they go and then they drive off, and then he goes, "Hang on a sec, I forgot something." He runs. He just leaves the car in the middle of the road, runs back in, shouts, "Harry!"
That's it. At first, I thought, "Oh, bad bloke! You've taken the whole family apart from the dog that's done it." And a part of me thinks, like, that bit with him being unpossessed and the house starting to bleed and start to collapse in on itself, I feel like once again there is a scene off camera where the dog has done something that's like set off a chain reaction to the house. Like, I reckon the dog dug up the house's weak spot, and it's thrown a grenade in there or something like that, and the house is now dying.
I'd love to see the film from his perspective. You know how like Twilight, they've done the new book and it's from the vampire's perspective. I'd like to do Harry's perspective.
The Amityville Horror.
The Amityville Horror. Yeah.
Harry's perspective.
Like
I've been digging down here for 2 days.
Well, he did that for a bit, and then he couldn't get anywhere, so he went to the library. He was at the library just before George. He was like looking at the books, and as George came in, he snuck out. He had a whole like Baby's Day Out style adventure.
Yeah, and he's read it and going, right, now I've exposed the weak point of this. Like down in the basement, Harry has a full-on boss battle, and he strikes that weak point enough times, and that's when George is like, and it starts.
George slips through the stairs just as Harry's killed the baddie.
Yeah.
George just slips into a puddle. That's why Harry's like in angry mode. He's still in like fight mode. He has to kind of calm down. Yeah, and then he pulls him out. Yeah.
He falls into a massive vat of Marmite.
Harry,
fucking hate it.
George feels like
love it or hate it.
The hero of the film. But it's actually Harry. It's like in Big Trouble in Little China when Kurt Russell like knocks himself out right at the start of the big fight. And it's actually everyone else who does all the fight.
Yeah.
Like Harry's done loads.
Yeah, so Harry's done it all. And then you're right. So George is covered in Marmite and the dog's biting him at first. And then
it makes sense because in your picture behind you, there's like an evil dog thing. That's Harry's been fighting that. As we looked in through the window, Harry was mid-scrap with that thing.
That's it. So Harry's got this thing that otherwise we don't see because it's seeing this out the window here that makes George go into the house with the axe going, that pig rat thing, I'm going to get him once and for all.
Is that what it is? Like a pig? It's very strange, isn't it? I don't even know what it was.
And then at the end, we don't see this as well. So the father who's blind is like trying to walk through a doorway, but he's hitting the door. And then Harry like turns up and he becomes his guide dog.
Yeah.
And then he kind of leads him out the door.
Harry is the greatest hero of this movie, and he turns it around again. It's subtle things because when he's coming out, obviously he's covered in a black goo. And he's like, right, I'm going to bite you, and he is cross. It's like, I'm biting you, and then he kind of does like a Norman Osborn, Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin. It's like, Peter, it's me. It's me.
It's me. It was me all along.
Yeah.
Except he doesn't then glider himself. It's just,
I think
it's me. He goes, oh, I'll pull you out.
I think it is supposed to be a pig because apparently it's called Jody the Pig, an imaginary friend of Missy Lutz, as suggested by George Lutz. Did I miss this? The book added the idea that Jody was more than an imaginary friend and was actually a demonic pig.
Oh, didn't pick up on that at all. But again, in the Harry's version, that's so subtle. It didn't actually happen in the film.
Yeah.
Do we need to mention that Jody, the imaginary ghost girl, is also a pig? No, people get it.
You think people picked up on that thing we didn't bring up in the film at all? Yeah, they'll get it.
When she explodes out, when the window explodes open, and you see those two eyes that in no way say, it's me, Jody, I'm a pig.
Just put the extra bits that they need in like a Fortnite event, and everyone will have to do that to get the rest of the story.
Somehow,
40 years later. Oh, so it's a pig monster. Oh,
there's some proper horrible fan art of this. There's like Jody the pig with like human hands. Very strange.
Is there a picture? Is there any pictures of Jody the pig that being defeated by Harry, the true hero of Amityville?
No, there aren't. There's this weird picture where the pig is like. I'll send you a link.
He is a kind of pig, but in the picture, was behind Andy, maybe it's been like squashed, like flattened or something. It looks doesn't like a pig.
The perspective looks very odd. It looks like a massive TV screen rather than being like an actual pig that's up there milling about.
There is some great art actually.
That's a horrible picture of Jody the pig there. Got a nice Adidas trainer.
It's chewing on a trainer. It's his favorite food. Jody the pig. Yeah, it's pretty scary. I feel like if they really focus on this,
do another remake Get one done. Get another Jodie.
Come
Another
on,
remake.
Jason Blum, get on here. Give us a Jodie. Although, didn't you say there was one recently? The Amityville Awakening, like 2017.
Yeah, I mean, there was, but I have no idea if that was like a low budget kind of. Let's put on a town, most towns like have like a fair. We're going to put on an Amityville movie.
Yeah,
we're going to do one.
maybe
Everyone's done
this.
one.
Maybe this is what we
Shelbyville
need
did
to
one
do.
last summer. Now we need to do one.
Yeah, maybe we need to just release an Amityville prequel again. Public domain, guys. We can do whatever we want. Bring one out called Jodie the Pig.
I think we could do that.
Sounds great.
So they run out of the house, and then we have text. It just says they never went back to the house again.
Yeah.
They now live in a different state.
Yeah, so basically they moved.
Emotionally,
They didn't even go back to get their personal belongings. So there's a whole collection of flannel shirts and thermal under.
I'm pretty sure he only had that one set of clothes.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was wearing that when he left. Oh, he's got it covered in black goo though.
So I guess essentially
true.
the remake kind of pans out the same, but with more like jump scares and more like actual scary ghosties.
Yeah.
But essentially it pans out the same where Ryan Reynolds as George gets snapped out of it. Don't murder us, you bloody idiot.
Yeah. Melissa George beats him up though, and the biggest change of the film is that I feel having watched them both, they do Harry real dirty in this. Harry gets killed in the remake.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I remember that actually. Yeah.
Harry gets axed. Which isn't that's mean.
So
not
bad. Minus
there is
points for that film.
Chloe Moretz is in it as one of the little kids as well. And there is a sequence where she's walking on the roof of the house, and I thought it was pretty tense. This scene, I was pretty like, oh shit, what's going to happen? Because Melissa George goes inside the house, climbs on the roof, and Ryan Reynolds is trying to get to her from outside the house, and I was pretty. What's going to bloody happen? But yeah, I found it. I think I prefer the remake just because I know it's got a lot of that modern horror sensibilities, which is a bit. I wouldn't say I enjoy either massively, but I'd say out of both of them, I prefer the remake because it does feel kind of inconsequential. There's nothing much tends to happen in the first one, does it?
Yeah, I think I was erring towards the remake being a more watchable film, but now having really thought about it, framing the dog as the ultimate hero of the original makes me like it more, and I'm just going to imagine what he's doing the whole time, all the way through it. And now I know about Jodie the pig.
Yeah.
It's making it all way better.
Because Jodie's just a little ghost girl in this one, where sometimes a man ghost will pull her through a floor or a ceiling.
My favorite bits of this film are the bits that they didn't show. The bits that aren't in the film. They were so good.
Jodie and Harry's final battle.
Jodie versus Harry in the basement, and it finally ends, and then George walks in and goes, shit, straight into the slot.
But Harry has I guess Harry probably has like a great line as he finishes her off or something, depending on the weapon he's got.
Yeah. As George slips into the slot, Harry tuts and then grabs him out. Bites because the sludge is the evil bits. He bites all those off.
Yeah, he nips them off, slaps them away. What would he say?
Is he saying? He's saying, Harry, it's me. I know I'm covered in sludge, but it is me. No, you're a sludge monster.
He looks.
Die, sludge monster.
Take that.
He notices right at the last minute. Oh yeah, it is you. Well, I'm going to turn this bite into me pulling you out.
I'm helping you. It's all right.
Yeah.
Oh, good old Harry the sludge monster, the sludge fighting dog.
There we go.
So that is the film. Yeah. Got a bit of name game, not a huge amount because it is quite difficult.
I've got a couple for you, Luke. If you run short, these are some deep cuts. So I'll be ready.
This one is there's newlyweds and their 3 children move into a large house where an entire family once tripped up at the same time, and they all kind of knocked into lots of stuff and bumped stuff over. This whole family were like really clumsily knocking stuff over.
Calamityville Horror.
Calamityville Horror, yeah. Well done. Next one, newlyweds and their 3 children move into a large house where a giant cartoon weight keeps landing on people and smushing them flat.
The Acme, was it? No, the what?
A giant cartoon weight keeps squashing them flat.
Like Anvil, the Anvil Horror.
Amityville Horror.
Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
I just put. Newlyweds and their 3 children moved to a large house where a mass murder was committed by a bunch of people who couldn't decide. Okay, mass murder was committed by a group of people who couldn't decide quite how they were going to kill people. So there's like a lot of people, they had to like votes on it and stuff.
The
I think the keyword is they committed the crimes.
They committed the crimes.
the guilty. They're bloody guilty.
Group of people, like an organization, I guess you'd call it.
The murder people. the murder friends. Well, I don't know.
The committee horror.
The committee horror.
Wait a minute. The voice has just come to me. Did you say the actor who was playing that priest, not the priest, but like his boss, was the mayor from the
bishop
town?
is the mayor from Jaws. The
The mayor from
like...
was it actually the same actor?
Yeah, same actor.
And the town in Jaws is called Amity.
It's Amity Island, yeah. So basically, he's in charge of things in a place called Amity, and is a proper naysayer.
Also, you don't see this in
typecast.
Jaws, but on that boat at the end, there was a dog passing in the canister they used to blow the shark up.
You know the bit where the shark is on those barrels. There's a dog that's holding those. That's like pulling him along.
Yeah.
What a hero!
Wow. Sorry.
Have you got any more names, Luke?
No, that's it for me.
I got a couple for you then. Ready? So, in this film, Idris Elba, to raise money for a good cause, ingests a lot of tablets.
Idris Elba ingests lots of tablets in preparation
to raise money for a good cause. So what's the event called?
Charity
Yeah.
ill.
Charity.
Ill.
Well, it'd be Idris.
I just need Idris Elba so he can do his accent.
Charity.
It's the charity. What is for a good cause?
So it's for charity, so it's a good cause, and he's ingesting a lot of tablets.
Tablets. Bill Swill. The charity Swill horror.
The Amityville overdose. The charity pill
it's
overdose.
The charity pill swallow.
Oh, charity pill swallow. That's good. That is
charity
good,
pill swallow.
The charity pill swallow.
Charity pill swallow.
What's the in that Idris Elba TV show? What's the girl's name that he keeps saying over and over again?
Zoe. Noe.
Yeah,
Zoe.
Oh, do you mean? Oh, what's the Alice?
I thought it was like Alice.
Alice,
Come on, Alice.
Yeah.
Alice.
Another one.
Alice.
In this one, a rabbi causes lots of controversy in the Jewish community by rewriting their holy text with the core principles of Sandra Bullock sci-fi movies and just being really relaxed about stuff.
So, like
the gravity chill.
Wait. What was the first thing you said?
A rabbi causes controversy in the Jewish community by it's Torah.
Gravity chill Kabbalah.
The gravity chill Torah.
Torah. What's the Kabbalah? Oh, that's like Jewish magic or something.
No idea. Finally, another one for you then. In this film, an Irish man shouts in disbelief, in a colloquial term, when he finds a mound of earth which is able to restore a person's mental faculties if they climb up it.
Hill.
It's hill.
A man of earth. They climb up it. Climber.
So the hill. The hill is named after what it restores if you climb up it. It restores your mental faculties.
mental fact. So
I can't lie. I've got nothing. I got
So,
absolutely
this
one-
nothing.
This one is Sanity Hill, Begorra, which
Sanity Hill. It's good. What's that last bit you said?
Begorra, which apparently is a
Begorra.
old Irish colloquialism, which means like by God.
I knew that.
Could've-
Begorra.
Got another one for you.
Yeah.
So,
That is a decent.
having moved to London, a famous person with a big imagination, played by Ben Stiller in a comedy movie, is asked by his new neighbour, who is a Cockney, if they can borrow some of his power tools for making holes in things.
The driller.
Drill,
Drill.
borrow. Drill,
Yeah.
borrow.
Borrow. Yeah. Borrow. Ben Stiller, drill borrow. What's
Walter Mitty.
Yeah, it's the Walter Mitty drill borrower.
Yeah.
That's good.
And there you go. Some more.
Is that the last one?
Some more name. You got one off the top of the dome, Ben.
No.
It's impossible.
No. My dome is void of all thought at the moment. There we go.
Need to rate the film.
Yeah.
What?
Do you want to do a double rating? I know you didn't.
I can do it from memory.
Yeah,
Go
from
on.
memory.
But
Yeah.
10 years ago.
I found the 1979 version pretty uneventful, and it kind of just ends, and I was a bit like, oh, I don't know if it's just accustomed to like haunting movies, hitting certain beats and including certain things. The fact it just didn't feel like that, and the remake is a bit cliche, but I also think there were some genuine scares, and the threat felt more severe than that of the original. And Ryan Reynolds does really well, I think, despite the fact that, well, I'll say despite the fact, including the fact that he gets his abs out in more than one occasion.
You love those abs.
And you know when he's possessed because his eyes are all dark. He's wearing some lovely
Pretty good
contact
abs.
lenses.
We've got to say that they're
Oh,
decent. I mean, compared to
It's one of those things.
our abs.
Our collective abs. It's one of those things where I look at that man and I go, do I believe that this character in this film has abs like that? Because those are movie star abs. They are not the abs of just a man who runs a contracting
It's
business.
a contract. He's chopping wood all day long.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, but
I would give the original a C-, and I'd give the remake a C.
okay, as in go see it.
Go
like it.
see it.
Definitely
It's
go
out
see it.
now.
I'm gonna give
15
this
years
one
ago.
because it's very similar. Gave the original a flat C. I don't mean a C flat. I just mean a C, like it's just a standard C. It's just completely normal default horror movie at that period. I'd say go watch Omen or The Exorcist before you watch Amityville Horror. The remake from memory, C plus, D-, no, B-. Sorry, I went the wrong way.
Bold.
Wait, what? You said everything then, didn't you? You said D, C, B, A plus, A plus, A.
I was warming up to it. I was just doing my scales, doing arpeggio ratings before now. And we're gonna end on that one on a B- from memory.
Okay.
I was like Jules Holland introducing a band.
Fantastic.
How about you, Andy? Did you say?
No, not yet. So you're right. Like this is the original is fairly excruciating, and not much happens. I mean, like I say, first 5 minutes, more kids shot to death than any other film on the market. But what happens afterwards is a fairly plain retelling of events where not too much goes on. Having talked about it, I now prefer the horror story that has the real protagonist of the dog that's really trying to save this family. And I like that film more than the one that we have. There's some fun to be had with that one. There are some good performances, but this one does show its age a little bit. And then all the things that you pulled out and that you mentioned, the subtleties, like Jodie the pig, which is so subtle that we don't get it, and the huge screams of how loud you can shout Jesus, loud enough to go blind. There's some things which are tough to pass as a modern viewer these days, I guess, if you didn't have a fondness for it or a memory of it in the time, or if you don't want to do some additional reading. So probably a little bit lower than you guys. I might go as far as giving this one a D+. There's some interesting things to go, but when the greatest things about it are things that I've imagined, then about a dog, then maybe it's not the best example of classic horror. Those examples you gave, Luke, are much stronger. Remake, technically a better film. Some good tense moments, like when Ryan Reynolds is getting the son he gets on with Lise to hold logs just before he chops them. Some real tension there. But they kill the dog, so I'm marking it down. And
they've missed the whole point of the story.
They've missed the whole point of the story. All this stuff about Jodie, I don't care about that. Don't kill Harry off halfway through the end. That's Metal Gear Solid 2 and Raiden all over again. Except I'm not turning around on this one. I'm never going to be a fan. So I'm going to give the remake a D and the original a D+.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. Don't kill the main character.
Yeah.
Disgraceful.
Cool. Next week we're going to be doing My Bloody Valentine. So just to make sure, which I accidentally already watched, just to make sure, are we doing both?
Same situation, right? We're going to focus on the original, but then touch on the remake.
Cool.
Yeah. I think that works pretty well, touching on the remake, because we kind of, rather than doing the original and then the remake, we kind of just pulled in little bits where we needed to, which was probably the best way of doing it.
Plan our recording very carefully so we don't have bloody Valentines of our own, or lonely days thereafter, having been off recording when there's romance to be had.
Exactly. Yeah, romance to be had every day, Andy. Every day there's romance to be had.
Every day's Valentine's Day.
Romance is out there.
Yeah, you gotta take it.
So just to check, I don't know if we've got any more patrons since the last episode.
No, don't think so.
Okay,
I think
cool. So thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to become a patron for early access episodes, bonus content, and heaps of free stuff over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to our current patrons: Lane Spencer, John Crinnan, Ben Scaife, Stephen Christopher, Toby Miller, Laura Kendrick, Ollie Child, Scott Rigby, and Bazuzu. Thanks to Kovacs Cameron for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. And thanks to you listeners. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing in iTunes. And remember to hit subscribe. We did get a review recently. I was going to read it out, but that was a couple of weeks ago now. Completely lost that.
Oh, yeah.
So if you find it, Luke, I will just say, if you're not on the Patreon already, we got some pretty banging stuff coming out on there. We're going to start some of the other ideas that we've had from people. They've asked us to do bonus episodes. We've got a couple lined up to record. We're going to do a special mini episode on the new Texas Chainsaw. We're going to do a recording talking about doing some video game chat. We're going to talk Alan Wake Remastered with Jem from the My Turn podcast as well. And we've been busy in the writing studio. Again, people who want to turn our writing into high budget Netflix dramas, give us a call.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking on a Patreon episode about our pitches for, I think it's open forum, right? It's Nightmare on Elm Street is the film we're going to be talking about first, but we have free reign as to whether we want to pitch a remake or a sequel or a legacy sequel. Very in right now.
Very in.
Not Friday the 13th, but in the wrong film again.
I think we're going to do both, but I think
we'll do both eventually.
Freddy first.
Freddy first, yeah. Sorry, Luke.
No, sorry.
You've been out the loop for 2 weeks and we've just gone.
We're doing My Bloody Valentine, Luke.
Let's just fuck with him. Let's just fuck with him. And then eventually he'll
Luke's
I'm falling apart.
exactly. I was going to say you're going to get off the call. I'm coming apart.
I found the review.
You got it.
I've got it as
It
well.
says,
You
got it,
for
sir. Okay.
No, it's okay. You go for it.
Via Apple Podcast, user Escob75 says, it's so hard to find a UK podcast about horror, and this is fantastic. After a while, you feel like a member of the family, and the fact these guys don't take themselves too seriously and part of the repetitive film school crew is refreshing.
Yeah, I think I can. I mean, it's a great review. Thanks very much for leaving that. But I think I know what they mean, where it feels like a lot of horror podcasts tend to, I don't know, they're trying to kind of deconstruct things. I mean, we do that, but we also are under no pretensions that we're film scientists.
Yeah.
Film school geeks. He's a film nerd. No, we're just...
He shows a film world. We'll give him a little nuggie on the head there.
We're definitely, we're going to give wedgies to all the film nerds and go, come on, guys. But yeah, I think that's...
We actually wouldn't. We're pretty nice people. We'd be...
it's what we're going for, I think.
But we're not sensible. We want you to feel like you're here hanging out with us and chatting on.
Yeah. That's what we're going for. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Cool. So thanks for listening. And thanks to my co-hosts for being right here, dudes.
Thank you
very much.
Both. Welcome back, Luke.
Welcome back. It's like we never. I can't even finish that sentence. Literally,
he's done.
I'm finished.
He's finished.
I've run out of juice.
It's the next 5 years, guys. For now, though, bye everybody.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.